He has to project strength. Woodrow Wilson and Grover Cleveland were both infirm during their presidential terms, but the public didn't know about it. They hid Wilson in the White House after his stroke, and his wife Edith ran the executive branch, if you can believe it. Grover Cleveland disappeared to Buzzards Bay in Cape Cod after being diagnosed with cancer of the mouth. President Warren Harding had severe health problems while in office. So did James K. Polk, who died just a few months after he left his first term. Of course, the deceptions about those presidents could not happen today. Wait, I'm wrong. I'm thinking about the Biden mental acuity thing. I guess mass deception did take place. Now, I sincerely hope the former president can survive this and doesn't suffer too much in the process. My father died of cancer. I know what this is. Prayers for the Bidens. Back in a moment. Take your health into your own hands with All Family Pharmacy. They have more than 200 medications, including ivermectin. Forget waiting rooms, pharmacy lines. Just order online and get delivery straight to your door. More than 100,000 Americans trust All Family Pharmacy, and you should too. Visit allfamilypharmacy.com/Bill. Use promo code BILL10 for 10% off. That is the Morning O'Reilly Update. I am Bill O'Reilly. For more news and honest analysis, please go to BillO'Reilly.com. More analysis later on.
This hour, the Vic Porcelli Show, brought to you by Connor Roofing. You can count on Connor for all your roofing needs. Visit ConnorRoofing.com. That's CONNER Roofing.com. Vic Porcelli.
Come on, you're Italian. You understand.
Every day is a busy day all of a sudden.
You talking to me? You talking to me?
Tough and smart, and I love Italian, so, he's definitely Italian.
At least I have this show to come and talk about it and let some stuff up.
What kind of a show are you guys putting on here today?
The Vic Porcelli Show.
Good morning, freedom fighters. Good morning, Kenny Williams.
Good morning, Vic.
How are you, man?
I'm good. How about you?
I am well. Today's I Heard It on the X Day. We'll do that at 9:25. Also, a new partner, a new sponsor here at the station, Cindy Blanton from Bauer Insurance Broker.
Yeah.
She is a sponsor of JC's Wayback Machine.
Oh, okay.
So Cindy and I will make fun of JC for a little bit, and then we'll talk about her insurance company. Okay, Kenny, who's doing the Pledge of Allegiance for us today?
Well, we have Daphne Sanders' 6.5-year-old daughter.
Oh.
Kristen's
daughter.
Daphne, yeah. Daphne's the one who's doing the pledge.
She's the daughter.
The daughter of Kristen.
Go ahead.
Sorry.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
With liberty and justice for all.
She nailed it.
She did nail it. All right. So President Trump, I am so tired all the time. He's never tired. Have you ever noticed that?
Never.
He never looks tired.
No.
He gets up at 5 o'clock in the morning.
Goes to bed at 2 probably.
Tweets a little bit before he goes to bed. And I'm like, oh my God, the energy they have. But a very successful, don't you think, a very successful trip to the Mideast?
Big time, yeah.
And Secretary of State Rubio said that President Trump's speech in Saudi Arabia was one of the most profound foreign policy speeches in American history. That's a pretty bold statement right there. Let's hear Secretary of State Rubio.
I don't know how many of you got to see the president's speech in Saudi Arabia. I think it will go down as one of the most profound foreign policy speeches in American history. And where it outlined a vision for the future and a vision of prosperity. And I tell people, we have a president of peace. In fact, I'll tell you kind of an aside, one of the cardinals I was meeting with, Mr. President, the day before the papal mass, said to me, it's very unusual for us. It's, we have an American president that wants peace, and it's some of the Europeans that are constantly talking about doing war stuff. So it's kind of the world's upside down in their mind right now. It's usually the other way around. And it's a great honor to work for a president who literally spends half his day, maybe more, trying to stop wars, end wars, prevent wars. And it's an extraordinary thing to be a part of. And thank you for your leadership on that front.
And, it was successful. And, President Trump made great deals for the United States. And it's just a world of difference between Joe Biden and President Trump. I mean, a world of difference.
Yeah, I go back every time I see President Trump there with all of the pomp and circumstance and the purple carpet laid out for him, and the American flags flying and everything, and the American flag on the side of the buildings.
Yes.
Then I revert back to the memory of Joe Biden fist pumping the prince, and I'm thinking, okay, well, there you go. There's a stark difference there.
I'm sorry he has cancer, but he was a completely worthless president.
You know what? I am too sorry he has cancer, but we're going to address every single thing that man did. I don't care. They're trying to shame everybody who says, well, you can't talk about a man with cancer like that. No, we can, because he's a thief. I believe his family's a thief. I think he's a liar. He's not a good politician. He's a great politician, actually, but not a good leader.
And we talked about yesterday this aggressive cancer that he has that has metastasized to his bones. Didn't we say, gee, that's awfully quick, right? How did that happen? How did it get metastasized to his bones so quickly? And we were right. That's what everybody is saying. Doctors are saying it can't metastasize that quickly. It's had it for years. And they didn't tell us.
And we have audio we can play later that backs up exactly what you're saying.
Okay, we'll do that. Right now, let's talk to Teddy Pierce. He's the author of Dethrone Davos and Save America. Teddy, thanks for being with us. How are you?
Hey, I'm great. Great to be on.
So I was a little surprised, I got to tell you, Teddy, when I saw Kash Patel, the FBI director, and Deputy Director Dan Bongino sitting with Maria Bartiromo on a Sunday morning, and Kash and Dan both saying, yeah, no, Jeffrey Epstein definitely killed himself. I was shocked to hear them say that.
Well, yeah, I was really shocked as well, and it sort of sets the tone and resets the way that we have to think about their relationship with the organization that ostensibly they're running. But what does it mean when something's so problematic as a story comes out and we hear the status quo come out of their mouths? It makes you reconsider, doesn't it?
Yeah, it really does, Teddy. And this is where I have a problem, because we all saw it, and Vic and I reported on this many times, that Jeffrey Epstein was in the cell, and supposedly the camera turned off, and then someone stepped away from their job, one of the guards. All of these different things make you put into question whether or not this is true, that he actually killed himself. What do you think they saw that made them say, well, yeah, he obviously killed himself?
Well, I think that it is very indicative of the fact that, Dan comes from Secret Service, Kash from the FBI itself. They have a lot of respect for these institutions, and probably a lot of respect for people who are bringing these reports to them. I think, though, that if there's not a greater indication that there is someone setting that narrative and tone and bringing to them exactly what they want them to see, I don't see a greater signpost of that. And I think that they saw files that indicated the type of evidence and the type of information that seems like all of it, but ultimately is showing them exactly what they want to see. Because you have extremely entrenched boots and suits within the FBI who work for the no names who run Five Eyes. This deep state apparatus it's all part of the same thing. And the FBI got incorporated into that after 9/11, when it changed from a law enforcement agency to an intelligence agency. And so I really believe that Dan and Kash think they're at the helm, and it's exactly what the management wants them to think that they're doing, and think that they can trust the people around them to bring the information and to seek the truth. And I don't think that they could be further off in their assumptions. And so I have no doubt that they're patriots. I have no doubt that they are wanting and trying to do the right thing. But if you are refusing to see the problem for what it is, this truly systemic problem, you can't begin to fix it, can you?
Right. And, we're talking to Teddy Pierce, the author of Dethrone Davos. As far as the cameras going out, I would have thought we would have been told all the cameras in the whole prison went out.
Yeah.
Or just just happens to be the one camera on the most famous person in the jail. I mean, it's just weird to me, and I don't know. I don't know how I feel about this. You know what I mean? It's just so during the 2020 election. All right, this is very just a little background thing. I believe it was I believe it was in Nevada, and the cameras in the room in the building where you vote, the cameras that run 24/7 just happened to go out on election day, and I think we pretty much know that 2020 was a ripoff. But do we know that, Teddy? Do we know that just the one camera went out, or was it a prison-wide camera outage?
As I understand it from the evidence that was admitted that came out, it was just on that floor. The prison guards were asleep. You know, there were just so many things, and it's not a matter of coincidence, right? It's a matter of compounding coincidences. Butler, PA, is another good example of, you really expect me to believe that this many coincidences happened in a row. It's not asking me to believe a bunch of disparate things that are happening. You're asking me to believe that you flipped a coin and it landed on heads 10 times in a row. You know, there's a compounding effect to this that really is frustrating to me, and it's disheartening that, you know, I posted on X this morning, if the people who, I believe that Dan and Cash, like I said, are patriots. But if even the wolves, even the people who perceive themselves as wolves are just part of the establishment's preserve, if you will, then, you know, what's the response? What do we have to do? And I guess we have to wake some more people up to the fact that things aren't what they seem, and we're being deceived on purpose, even at the highest levels.
So let's get to the Butler, Pennsylvania assassination attempt. I would have thought, and I'm not, you know, we love Dan Bongino. He did the show here right after us every day for 3.5 years.
Oh, yeah.
But he was part of the Secret Service. Clearly there was a Secret Service breakdown in Butler, Pennsylvania, for that guy to be so close. I use these two distance analogies here like every day. So the people who've heard this a million times, please bear with me, okay? If you're driving in your car, Teddy, and you have to make a right on the next street that's 450 feet away, and you look up, you could read that sign with the naked eye, right? In the 1954 World Series, Willie Mays made that amazing catch in center field over his shoulder. That was at the Polo Grounds in New York, which had an enormously long center field fence. That's how far Crooks was from Trump. And we could see Willie Mays making that catch. He was so dangerously close, and we haven't heard a reason why yet. And I would have thought that Dan would have been up on that more, I guess. I hate to pick on Dan Bongino, but what do you think?
Yeah, and I'm right there with you. I like Dan. I think that he's a patriot, but, you know, with Cash wrote the whole deep state book too. Yeah. And to Dan speaking about the Butler, Pennsylvania incident on his radio program right after, it makes you feel like these people are going to come in and really railroad. I think Trump made good picks to put those people where they are. But for this to be the front-facing apparatus, for them to come in and say, we've reviewed the documents, we've taken an honest look at it, and these are our conclusions. Excuse me. It really makes me question what evidence they saw to arrive at the conclusions they've arrived at. And I'm not claiming to have any secret Gnostic knowledge, but none of the conclusions that they have come to even begin to satisfy an explanation to all of these stories. You know, and it just, at a certain point, when they come to the conclusion that benefits this liberal establishment slowly marching the country to the left and to our destruction, and that's the conclusion they come to over and over and over again, a lot of coincidences and a lot of circumstances that have to be overlooked to arrive there. At what point, you know, at what point do we have to say, you know, we need a paradigm shift here. We need a total change of what's happening, because even when good people go to Washington and they literally cannot see the truth and see reality for what it is. Even when they think that they're affecting real change, gosh, something's got to happen, right?
I don't know what's wrong with my button. Teddy, what I was going to say is that, Vic and I, we are all in for the Trump administration and supporting their efforts. But we will call it out when we need to. And the problem is you have a vacuum of information here, and all they need to do is say, okay, yeah, we've come to the conclusion that he did kill himself, and here's why. Now, that's the here's why is what they haven't done yet. And that's why we're saying, look, guys, we're behind you, but we need to find out why you came to that conclusion.
Yes, absolutely. Or, crooks acted alone. And this is why we think that's another good example. But it seems, it more seems like we want to button this up and we want to move forward. And that's just not going to bode well in going into the future and going into the midterms. If we feel like we were going to have some great change and we get some economic changes and some economic relief, that's going to be great. But ultimately, this goes back to setting the tone of character and integrity for the administration. And if they're going to, it'll be no different than the Republicans in the past who cheered and rah and said, we're going to go in and fight the system, like Mitt Romney, just become part of it, or at least placate that system for, I don't know, for what benefit they perceive. That's really going to begin to wear on their credibility and the character of the America First movement. And we didn't hire them to go nibble around the edges, right? We hired them. We voted Donald Trump in to drain the swamp. And if we're not going to see those results, I don't know where we go from here.
There's so much happening that we don't know.
Yeah.
That happens every day in government that we don't know. Some of it we don't need to know, but some things we need to know.
We just need to know.
I mean, RFK, JFK, MLK, UFOs, Butler, Pennsylvania. There's just so many answers besides all their other day-to-day stuff.
Right.
You know what I mean? All right, Teddy, where do we find Dethrone Davos, Save America?
It is on Amazon in all formats, and the website is dethronedavos.com.
All right, man. Thank you so much for being with us.
Hey, thank you.
Thanks, Teddy. I know, Vic. I'm the frustration. I can feel the frustration of everybody listening right now, just going, "Where's the answer? Give us a little bit more, something." That's all.
And Kash Patel was being interviewed before he became the director of the FBI, and said, "I've seen all the JFK files, and we're going to release them all." Like he said it like we were going to find out names of people that were behind the fence on the grassy knoll and all that stuff, and we never heard a word.
What about, I agree with that, and what about Pam Bondi saying that? It's on my desk. I saw all the names. I got the list, and tomorrow I'm going to release it. And she never did.
And the Epstein list, exactly right. All right. Who am I to say? They got stuff to do. Stick around. I heard it on the X. Coming up next on 1019 94.1 News Talk STL, number one for live and local conservative talk.
Stream the Vic Porcelli Show at NewstalkSTL. The Vic Porcelli Show.
As we evolve our institutions and drive creative new partnerships, let me be clear. Certain principles of our international system are sacrosanct.
English, motherfucker, do you speak it?
Made in St. Louis for St. Louis. It's News Talk STL.
I don't remember Joe Biden being in Pulp Fiction, but apparently he was in there. All right, so listen, that storm on Friday ripped some roofs completely off of houses. I saw some of the video of some of the buildings and apartment buildings where people lived. There was one where 2 floors of the building just disappeared, just went away.
Yeah.
And if anything happened to your roof, I know what you're thinking. What do I do? Well, what you do is you get in touch with Connor Roofing, because this is where they specialize over goober roofing. If you see a truck come down that says goober roofing, don't go with that guy. But the Connors know what to do. They will go up there and they will give you an honest estimate, because maybe your house just withstood everything and the roof is intact and everything is fine. That's what they'll tell you. If it does need work, it'll be quality work. And you bet, great customer service. I mean, Kathy Connor will call you on the phone and say, "Hey, how did we do?" And you be honest with them. No kid gloves. They don't want kid gloves either. They want to know. Emergency storm repairs. That's what's going on right now. And please get in touch with Connor before the insurance company. Okay. It's ConnorRoofing.com. Connor Roofing, CONNER, roofing.com.
Hey, it's Mike Ferguson from the Morning Show here for Common Sense Rental. That is sense with a C, your all-new steel dealer in Fenton. We have got deals you just cannot miss. On April 25th, get 15% off all Echo items and get 15% off Red Max handheld products through April 6th. For Memorial Day weekend, get a 3-day rental for the price of just 1 day. By the way, we are now a Grasshopper mower dealer as well. Common Sense Rental, family-owned since 2009. We're on Gravoy Road in Fenton or online at commonsenserental.com.
Hey, want to amaze your friends when they visit? They'll be impressed when they see your custom-made draperies, blinds, or shutters. Michael Proctor will personally help you select the correct colors to truly showcase your home. Then he will actually design, personally install everything. No overhead markup. That's going to save you money on draperies, blinds, or shutters.
Call for an appointment at your home. Spell Proctor like doctor.
Nate Lucas here for the Village Bar in the heart of Des Peres. Since 1948, the Village Bar has been the go-to destination for delicious food, cold drinks, and unbeatable atmosphere. Savor their famous wings, burgers, and onion rings, or grab a drink from their fully stocked bar. Catch all the big games and enjoy the company of their friendly staff. Plus, don't miss the 1879 Distillery, a one-of-a-kind experience right next door. The Village Bar offers the best value in town. Find the Village Bar on Facebook and come experience where history meets great times. You'll be glad you did.
Whether at home or at work, you're mobile. So when you're mobile, stay mobile. Keep St. Louis's home for conservative talk with you wherever you go. Download the NewstalkSTL app in the App Store or at NewstalkSTL.com. Talk lines are open now at 314-912-1019. The Vic Porcelli Show.
It's not personal. It's strictly business.
On NewstalkSTL.
Welcome to it. Good morning. 1019 and 94.1 NewstalkSTL. I'm Vic Porcelli. That is the great Ken Williams over there. And Ken, it's something that we like to call I Heard It on the X.
Anywhere, y'all. Everywhere, y'all. I heard it. I heard it. I heard it on the X.
So Kenny and I just scroll through X and, see what we can find. Speaking of X, I'm sorry. Can I just say one thing before we get to this?
Sure.
Yesterday we were talking to Karen Cataline, and Ken, I don't know why I can't stop watching Third Reich stuff, World War II stuff. And I said to Karen, I saw, because these little things come up on my Facebook feed of different people, different Jews from, Ken, not just in Germany or Czechoslovakia. They were like Denmark, that's not around the block from Germany, right?
Right.
So I told her that I found, or what came up was a picture of this girl. Remember I saying this beautiful girl, just absolutely gorgeous face?
Yeah.
January 19th, 1932, a Polish Jewish girl, Chana Bloom, was born in Warsaw. She cherished bedtime stories from her father. She died in the Warsaw Ghetto in 1942. She was 10 years old. And I found the picture. It took me forever to find the picture last night. I'm scrolling through these Auschwitz memorial pages. And I finally found it. And can I just send you the image of her? Can I do that?
Yeah, if you could, and then I'll go ahead and post it on our stream. So if you have a chance, get on our stream and check it out. All of the stuff that we do up there. We're on X, we're on Rumble, Instagram. Now we're actually on YouTube for now until we get thrown off again. And then, of course, Facebook.
I want you to look at your DMs, whatever you call them, the email of X.
Oh, okay.
And I just sent you a picture. I want to hear your reaction before we go any further.
There it is. Wow.
Is that one of the most beautiful faces you've ever seen?
So innocent. Yeah. Just
10 years old, never got to fall in love, never got to get married.
Yeah.
It's terrible. All right, sorry. But we're talking about X, and that's right.
Right. No, I'll post it on the stream.
Okay. First one comes from Common Sense. Sense, CENTS. And actually the S is a $.
Yeah.
Are we surprised that the Democrat Party covered up Joe Biden's health declining. This is the same party that trotted out Jimmy Carter on life support to vote for Kamala, and they celebrated it. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
He was in a bed. Yeah, he was in a hospital bed, Jimmy Carter. No idea what's going on. And I'm sorry, I really don't think that vote should count because he didn't willingly do it.
He was laying there like he was dead. I mean, I hate to say that, but it looked like his mouth was wide open. He's not cognizant at all of what's going on around him. They had a caretaker that was leaning next to him, probably listening to see if he was still breathing. I swear, because he was that close.
Yep. Jason Whitlock, sports reporter, a guy who just talks some common sense. He's a black guy, and Sean Hannity has him on all the time. And by the way, Sean Hannity and he are great friends, and they've known each other forever.
Have they really?
Whatever.
Well, that's surprising.
It surprises you that he said it.
Yeah.
Because it's probably not true.
Right.
All right. So Jason Whitlock says, Angel Reese hates Caitlin Clark. She hates the one person who might lead the WNBA to profitability. Reese hates the player who has made her rich and famous. This is insanity. Why hate Caitlin Clark? You're nothing without Caitlin Clark. So that play, all this Caitlin Clark, Angel Reese talk that's happened since Saturday is because of a foul that Caitlin Clark made on Angel Reese. It was what they call a take foul. You don't want somebody to get a clean close-up layup. Not that Angel Reese would have hit the layup, but fouled her. It was a little rough. I don't think it was flagrant, but I think it was rough. And then you look back on last season when the WNBA just beat the stuff out of Caitlin Clark all season long.
Yeah.
All season, including Angel Reese doing a lot of the hitting. And now all of a sudden it's a big deal. And Jason Whitlock is just trying to tell it like it is. This is the one who is paying your paycheck, okay? She's the one who got you out of buses and on airplanes, and not just on airplanes, but in first class. And she's the one, because the NBA has never made a profit. The WNBA has never made a profit. They're financed through the NBA.
Right.
And every time Caitlin Clark plays, the house is full, 20,000 people, 17,000 people. It's a lot of people.
I could be wrong, but considering that a lot of these places hold 15 to 20,000 seats, and the WNBA averaged before Caitlin Clark about 3,000 seats.
And they played in smaller arenas before Caitlin showed up.
Right.
They had to go up to the NBA arena
right.
in town, right?
Right.
So, I mean, and the real thing about it is that never should have happened, because there should have been a whistle when Angel Reese two-handed pushed Natasha Howard almost to the ground. That's where the whistle should have been. That should have been the foul. Play stop, and this play that everybody's talking about never would have happened.
And I think to give herself an advantage, an illegal advantage like that, I saw her do that. She was pushing her away because she knew that she was going to go back and get the ball.
Right.
I mean, that's just a cheap shot.
Right.
Pure and simple.
Okay. I mean, I love talking about Caitlin Clark, but it's not really what we call playing the hits, but now it is. Now it's a racial thing. Now it's a thing.
Sure.
Somebody called at Amuse, AMUSE, said, cover up. Frank Biden admitted that Joe Biden withdrew from the presidential race due to his serious health concerns, acknowledging the family's desire to cherish whatever time remained. He clearly knew about his brother's cancer. This cancer did not happen overnight. Last week he got examined, and all of a sudden, in 2 days, his cancer metastasized to his bones. I mean, none of that is true. I mean, it's true, but what's not true is that it didn't happen yesterday.
No, and they're suspecting that Joe Biden had this actually, where it metastasized to his bones from the time he became president.
Mm-hmm. Wow. So the whole time.
The whole time. We have audio from a doctor, and actually it's Rahm Emanuel's brother, that said this could have been going on for 5 or 6 or 7 years.
So I think we've learned that there's nothing we can trust the Democrat Party on.
I knew that before, but yeah.
Right. And we've got midterms coming up next year already, Ken. We can say next year are the midterms.
Yes.
Now, with all this distrust that America should have in the Democrat Party, you would think it would be a red wave or a red tsunami, but Let's not get crazy. Take one step at a time.
Right.
And if it is, and we see it is, we'll say it. We want a red wave. We want a red tsunami. 2024 was a great red tsunami, red wave for us.
Yes, it was.
Okay.
But we never said it's gonna be. It's gonna.
Right,
We never
right.
said it.
You're right, Ken. All right. So this feature is called "I Heard It on the X." Let's actually hear something on the X, and that is former President Trump Chief of Staff. Sorry, Reince Priebus.
First of all, people were put to shame. Me and others out there that talked about Joe Biden's mental acuity. We were told he was sharp as a tack, he had a photographic memory, he was intense and brilliant. And what's amazing is the sources of this book were the same sources that told us that we ought to be ashamed of ourselves. It's a stutter. Stop talking about him. The fact is they were managing his decline in a nursing home in the White House.
They should be ashamed because this is more serious than we're even talking about right now. I'm looking back on this thing and I'm thinking to myself, just remember Joe Biden in the auto pen, Joe Biden making all these different decisions, Afghanistan, where I have 13 names behind me that shouldn't be there. Okay. Who made that decision? Was it Joe Biden? Really? Was it Joe Biden? And if it wasn't, well, you know what? We need to find out who it is. They need to be prosecuted. We need some kind of return, Vic.
I heard that the auto pen person has been identified. So we'll see who that is. And finally, our last entry, and I heard it on the X, comes from our very own Susie Moore, Smoozy Q on Twitter. She says, tired, and I'd like to turn in, but the storms are being jerks.
Anywhere, y'all. Everywhere, y'all. I heard it. I heard it. I heard it on the X.
All right. Those storms were being jerks.
They were.
Last night, Sally, I love Sally.
I know you do.
But
you got a picture of her.
Yeah, but I'm going to kill her, okay? Because she's crazy. She wants to go out all the time. Jessica's like, let's put a fence around the house and a doggy door. So she just goes whenever she wants to go.
I think that's a good idea, Vic. Honestly. It'll
So-
be worth the money for sure.
She wanted to go out last night. I said, oh, yeah? You think you want to go out? Come on. Let's go by the back door. I opened up the door, and she stopped, and she looked out at the rain. And then this loud clap of thunder hit, and she jerked like, whoa! I'm not going out there. But I had to get up to prove to you that you don't want to go out there.
Right.
I love her. What am I going to do? What are you going
What are you
to
gonna
do,
do?
Ken? All right, Saturday nights, JC's Wayback Machine, 6 to 9 o'clock. A lot of great music, a lot of great fun, a lot of great stories. A new sponsor of that show is the Bauer Insurance Brokerage. And we will talk to Cindy Blanton from Bauer coming up at 10:05 on 101.9 and 94.1 News Talk STL. Welcome home.
Stream the Vic Porcelli Show at NewstalkSTL. You're listening to the Vic Porcelli Show.
As President Lincoln said,
what, do you have a cough due to cold?
Made in St. Louis for St. Louis. It's News Talk STL.
On the next
Larry Connors, USA.
Trump says after phone calls with Russia and Ukraine, negotiations start moving to a ceasefire.
Larry Connors, USA. Now, weeknights 6 until 8 on News Talk STL.
If you're considering an annuity as part of your retirement plan, we need to talk. Hi, I'm Bob Stockdale, Senior Vice President Investments with the ClearPath Wealth Management Group at Stifel and host of On the Money Saturday mornings at 9 on News Talk STL 1019. Annuities can be a useful tool for some retirement investors, but not all annuities are created equal. Every week, we meet clients who own complex annuities that don't suit their needs and, in some cases, actively undermine their retirement plan. Before you purchase an annuity, get a second opinion from the ClearPath Wealth Management Group at Stifel. Requesting a consultation is free of charge. To request a free consultation, contact us at clearpathinvesting.com. That's clearpathinvesting.com, or call us at 636-695-2650. That's clearpathinvesting.com or 636-695-2650. Stifel Nicholas and Company Incorporated, member NYSE and SIPC.
Getting new flooring can be exciting, or it can be a hassle. To make sure you have a great experience, use Michael's Flooring, like I did. Hi, it's Susie Moore, and Michael's Flooring has become my go-to for quality, variety, and an all-around great experience. They've been locally owned and operated for more than 30 years. Carpet, hardwood, laminate, ceramic tile, natural stone, luxury vinyl, it doesn't matter. Michael's Flooring is ready to help. 3 locations to pick from: St. Peter's, Darting Prairie, and Creve Coeur, or online at igotfloor.com. That's igotfloor.com.
Remember those magical moments in Mom's kitchen? The heavenly aroma of fresh baked cookies? At Trolley Stop Bakery in Chesterfield's Forum Shopping Center, our co-op of talented bakers has been perfecting that homemade magic for 4 decades. From the gooeyest cookies in town to custom pies, cobblers, and cakes, everything's made from scratch, just like Mom and Grandma's recipes. Need that perfect corporate gift? We ship our famous cookies nationwide. The Trolley Stop Bakery, 67 Forum Shopping Center, or TrolleyStopBakery.com. Because some traditions are too sweet not to share.
Hey, Tony Colombo here, inviting you to the Bluff City Outdoors Show Fishing Pentathlon, a one-of-a-kind multi-species fishing tournament Sunday, June 8th at Carlisle Lake. There'll be several side pods, but to win, your team has to catch all 5 species of fish with the highest total weight. This unique tournament gives fishermen of all levels a chance to walk away a winner. Get more info and reserve your spot now by going to BluffCityOutdoors.com and searching tournament entry, or just go to the events tab on the Bluff City Outdoors Facebook page. The Fishing Pentathlon, brought to you by Great Harvest Bread Company in Maplewood.
This hour, the Vic Porcelli Show, brought to you by Connor Roofing. You can count on Connor for all your roofing needs. Visit ConnorRoofing.com. That's CONNER Roofing.com. Talk lines are open now at 314-912-1019. The Vic Porcelli Show.
You're very good. You are very good.
On Newstalk STL.
My expectation that President Biden is going to meet this moment with the courage and resilience that he's consistently shown. Seems to me entirely inappropriate that at this moment in time, when President Biden is dealing with a serious and aggressive form of cancer, there are Republicans who are peddling conspiracy theories and want us to look backward at a time when they actually are taking health care away from the American people. No, as House Democrats, we're going to look forward. They literally are trying to take health care away from millions of Americans at this very moment in the dead of night. And Republicans want to fan the flames of conspiracy theories at this moment. No, thank you.
Literally?
Conspiracy theories? Let me say this like Rush would have said it. That is House Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries. That's how he would have said his first name.
That's how he would have, yeah.
Hakeem Jeffries. Like he used to say Robert Reich. So we're conspiracy theorists again.
Yeah. Move forward. Don't look back. Don't look over here. Look over here, in other words.
We're moving forward. Don't want to see that. So Hakeem Jeffries, I stopped paying attention for a second because I hate his voice. Did he say extreme MAGA Republicans in that?
I don't actually recall.
Okay. He must not have then, because they would have jumped out.
I know.
Because
yeah.
we're always waiting for that. But it's inappropriate. Listen, guys, okay? It's inappropriate for you disgusting MAGA people to talk about Joe and his cancer because he's got cancer. I mean, that's basically what he's saying.
Yeah, what I hear is, look, don't look at all the other stuff that's going on with this whole situation and the Democrat Party falling apart and everything. You shouldn't be talking about Joe. Okay, just don't talk about Joe. Just look over here. Don't look there. Move forward. Stop looking back.
Right. Sorry. I just look back a lot. So here's the deal, okay? We found out. Well, first of all, we heard the audio of Robert Hur and Joe Biden when Robert Hur came to the conclusion after the conversation that Joe Biden couldn't stand trial. The jury will be too sympathetic to him and he won't get a fair trial. He'll get a fair trial for himself, but not for the world, right?
Yeah.
And I mean, some of the things Joe said in that interview with her, I'm like, oh my God. No wonder they didn't want us to hear it. No wonder Merrick Garland said we're never going to hear this because it's a national security risk. Yeah, you bet it was.
Well,
Joe himself was a national security risk.
Yeah, and that's the primary reason. That is the whole reason why they didn't say, oh, wow, he did a great job. Here, let's post this. Let's let everybody hear the recording. Why did they hide it? Of course they hid it for that reason. That just tells you the Democrats are full of deceit. They don't care about the American people and getting the truth. They just want to make sure that they're covered.
And with Donald Trump, do they ever want to look forward?
No, never.
Right? It's always looking back and making up stuff anyway.
Making it all up, yeah.
So Hakeem can kiss my ass. Now, so Dr. Ezekiel Emanuel Rams.
No, that's Rahm's brother.
It's Rahm Emanuel's brother.
Yeah, Rahm Emanuel. You remember him?
Oh, of course. Who's the doctor? It says Dr. Ezekiel.
Yeah, that's Dr. Ezekiel.
That's
Emanuel.
They're both named Emanuel?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, Rahm Emanuel and Ezekiel.
Oh, okay. I got it.
Yeah.
I got it. So he's an oncologist. He's got to be on Rahm Emanuel's side. He's got to be a lefty, right? Got to be.
Yeah, and never let a crisis go to waste.
Right.
Rahm Emanuel.
On MSNBC, ladies and gentlemen, told Joe Scarborough cancer doesn't metastasize to your bones that fast.
You believe it is likely, if this prostate cancer has spread to the bone, that he could have had it for up to a decade, but certainly it's likely. Would it be fair to say it's likely to have had this for at least several years?
Oh, more than several years. You don't get prostate cancer.
So I just want to stop you. So this is not speculation. If you have prostate cancer that is spread to the bone, then he's most certainly, you were saying, had it when he was president of the United States.
Oh, yeah. He did not develop it in the last 100, 200 days. He had it while he was president. He probably had it at the start of his presidency in 2021. Yes, that I don't think there's any disagreement about that.
His whole presidency is a farce.
Do you remember when Joe Biden would do a press conference or a big speech or a debate, and then one time there was a close-up picture of his hand, and it looked like a needle had been in his hand?
Yeah,
remember?
yeah.
We said they were juicing him up. Probably was chemo.
Could have been, yeah.
And nobody had the guts to tell us.
But we're not supposed to be talking about this right now.
Oh, I'm sorry. Then let's talk about, can we agree Joe Biden was not fine?
Oh, I think the whole world knows now.
Okay. So can we play a collage of people telling us inaccurately that Joe is fine? Can we do that?
Yeah.
Go.
I meet frequently with the president, and every single time I meet with him, he is just fine.
But he is, again, knowledgeable, wise.
Incredibly sharp, incredibly probing, incredible command of the details.
He is sharp. He is on top of things.
There is nothing to these challenges, these suggestions that somehow he's not sharp and he's not capable.
We see Joe Biden up close. We know how attuned he is to the issue.
And you're going to see how smart he is and the experience he has.
I say his age is an asset.
He's wise. Yes, he's wise. He has wisdom. He has experience.
And his experience, because of his age and his wisdom, has been invaluable to this country.
A lot of countries, people who've been in office a longer period of time are praised for their wisdom.
I have seen a lot of 72-year-olds not as capable as this 80-year-old.
It is hard for us to keep up with this president.
His mental acuity is great. It's fine. It's as good as it's been over the years. He's fine. All this right-wing propaganda that his mental acuity is declined is wrong.
There you go.
And this kind of sense that he's not ready for this job is just a bucket of BS that's so deep, your boots will get stuck in.
So, conspiracy theorists. We're conspiracy theorists.
Yes.
When we were right all along, when we said there's something wrong with this guy.
We had this from the beginning of yours and my show here, Vic.
Yep.
When we signed on July 19th, 2021, that's when we were saying Joe Biden is not all there. There's something going on with him.
Can we hear another cut, Ken? I know we weren't planning on it, but number 29, can we hear that? This is urologist Dr. Schusterman, who says it's unheard of for someone with Biden's level of care to not know he had prostate cancer. It's a full-on cover-up.
it's very unlikely that someone could get annual checkups and not notice a PSA elevation over the past, this is what I typically would see in a VA hospital, where a patient hasn't had medical attention in 10 years, presents to an emergency room with bone pain, and then they find that it's metastatic prostate cancer. But in the modern age of medicine, especially the fact that he was a former president, he had intensive state-of-the-art care where we can see prostate cancer, 10 years in the past. So this is, it's very unusual to hear that someone has prostate cancer where they're annually being followed up. And the fact that we just find it at a Gleason 9 is just pretty much unheard of in this day and age of medicine.
Okay, we know, Vic, that the Democrat Party, they're scheming, they're deceitful, they try to just gain power at all costs, right? I mean, you and I pretty much talk about that. What about this crazy idea that I have that maybe they all did know? Maybe the doctors did tell them, hey, this guy he's got a metastasized cancer. It's going into the bones from his prostate. Maybe they did know that and said, well, you know what? We really can't afford to keep him out of the public eye right now. He's the only guy that can win. So let's keep him.
I completely think that everything you said is what happened. I think they all knew. I think, don't say anything, please don't say anything, because God forbid, if he steps down, Kamala has to step in. I mean, they knew Kamala was terrible.
Right.
Awful.
Yeah.
And I think you're right. I think they did know. And they did keep it from us on purpose, obviously, because Joe's so bad. And he was a security risk from the word go. But Ken, the real reason, and this is why we can never let Democrats have power again, the real reason why is he's not Donald Trump.
Yeah, pretty much. That's it. Yeah.
Another president, if Donald Trump never existed and this happened, I swear to God, I don't drink before the show. I swear to God. I don't know why I hiccup all the time.
That's all right.
If Donald Trump never existed and we had a president like Joe Biden, or we have Joe Biden, let's say we have Joe Biden, both parties would be, we got to get rid of this guy. He's crazy. We can't let him run for president in 2020. We can't let him run for president. We can't rig the primaries so that he's the candidate and not Bernie Sanders, right? Bernie Sanders truly should have been the candidate in 2020.
Most likely, yeah. And I remember the rallies. Do you remember the 2020 rallies? The Bernie, what would they call them? The Bernie Bros?
Bernie Bros are the people, yeah.
Yeah.
Even the girls.
Yeah. And I had family members that were in La Jolla, California, and they had full size, faces of Bernie, and they were all about him, man.
He did a rally at the Family Arena. It was packed, and I don't know if you ever saw this. This was actually kind of a cool moment. Bernie's at the podium and he's talking, and this bird comes and lands on the podium right in front of his face. And Bernie's looking at him, crowd's going wild, and the bird just stayed there. And finally he flew away. But it was really a cool thing. So if Donald Trump never existed, maybe the Democrats would have had an honest primary, because they can't run an honest election, whether it's a primary or whether it's a presidential election or it's a campaign for dog catcher.
And I have to agree with you, because if it wasn't for Donald Trump being where he is right now, a non-uniparty guy, and he's Republican, but for the good reason of his name only, because he's not doing what normal Republicans do. We're finding out from the past. They were a part of the group. The Republicans of the past were the part of the group. So if Donald Trump didn't exist, then that would mean, oh yeah, well, you're a part of this, so let's get him out of there. We'll get somebody else, and it's just about the same.
So, and again, we're sorry that Joe has cancer. Okay, we hate to hear that he has cancer. It's just too bad. We just wanted to hear it earlier, maybe, a little bit of truth to the Democrats, which they never are. They're never truthful about anything. And Joe Biden. Let's think back on some of the things. Now that we know that he did have it, right? Probably under the effects of chemo a lot while he was speaking and debating and campaign speeches, and that Hitler speech that he did with the red color and the Marines. Now look at it. Now it's like, wow, yeah, there definitely was something wrong with this guy. So not only, because we'll hear too about that he was, and mark my words, okay? Let's write it down that we said it on this day, that doctors also diagnosed him with dementia. We're going to hear that one day.
I think so too. Yeah, I agree with that. And that's my point about saying, well, if they hid this for this long, what else have they been hiding?
Of course.
Everything. And I'm not just talking about his physical condition, his mental condition. I'm talking about what else have they been hiding that Joe Biden didn't do that they said he did do? And that's what we need to get into.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't mean for it to rhyme.
Right. You're a poet and you're not even aware of it.
I know.
Supposed to say not even know it.
Right.
It's a joke.
I got it.
Okay.
I know you.
So listen, something completely, that collage you played of people saying that he was fine, what was that music underneath it? It sounded like it was from like a Mario game.
It was.
Or Sonic the Hedgehog. It was Mario game?
One of those, yeah.
So funny. Did you make that?
No.
Okay. That's okay. So there you go. Mark Milley. So Mark Milley, here, think about this, Ken. Mark Milley said he's fine. Joe's fine. And Mark Milley made the decision to call his Chinese counterpart and say, if Trump's going to attack, we'll call you. We'll let you know. Treason.
Right.
The balloon that went over the United States.
That's the thing that bothers me the most right now.
I'll bet Joe never even woke up by the time the decision was made for that thing to go across the country.
Right.
Because Milley said he's sharp, he's fine, he defended him, so I can do what I want now.
And you said originally Joe Biden did say to blow that thing out of the sky.
He did.
And,
well, that's the first report that I heard.
Okay, the very first report. Okay.
Which,
but they probably just said, Joe, just go lay down. We'll take care of this. Don't worry about it.
Go ahead.
And no, but seriously, I know it sounds funny at times, but they probably said that all the time.
Mm-hmm.
And he listened to them.
And when we thought he was juiced up and he had the little, looked like a needle in the back of his hand, and we were like, oh, look, they probably throw the juice in there. That was probably a chemo. And if we had thought about it, we could have said, hey, is that Gene juiced up or is he on chemo?
Well, look how he changed over just a short period of time. People were commenting on his appearance. They were saying, look at him. He just doesn't even look like the same person. Well, guess what? Maybe he wasn't because he was being shoved with chemo all the time.
I'll say it again. There's so much we don't know that goes on in this world.
I believe that.
And some of it we shouldn't know, but some we should.
Yeah.
And they're just not telling us. All right, we'll talk to Cindy Blanton from Bauer Insurance, and she's going to talk to, actually, we're both going to make fun of JC a little bit, which is always fun.
Yeah.
So run for cover. That's coming up next. After the news on 101.9 and 94.1 News Talk STL, number one for live and local conservative talk.
Whoosh.
The Herzog Tomorrow Foundation provides private school tuition scholarships through Missouri's new Most Scholars program to cover the cost of accessible, high-quality schooling.
Hi, this is Mayela Esser with the Herzog Tomorrow Foundation. Our private school tuition scholarships wouldn't be possible without the support of generous Missouri taxpayers. If you're a Missouri taxpayer interested in redirecting your tax dollars and sending them to Missouri students in need of a better education, please contact me at herzogmostscholars.org.
Better education for students creates a better tomorrow for all. Learn how you can help provide a better education for Missouri students at herzogmostscholars.org. That's herzogmostscholars.org. Also, sign up for The Lion, an initiative of the Herzog Foundation that carries articles covering a wide range of issues facing American families and culture. herzogfoundation.com. That's herzogfoundation.com.
To have a roof over your head, a nice roof over your head, is very important.
That's Rick talking about his experience with Rhino Shield ceramic coating.
We got Rhino Shield 18 years ago, and they're very cooperative on getting us the right paint. They're in and out and done in no time. Once it was finished, looked great. We were very happy with it.
The main reason Rick called Rhino Shield is because it's backed by a 25-year transferable warranty.
We've watched a lot of people get their house painted 3 or 4 times, and we haven't had to do any of it. I don't know about you guys, but I don't want to have to paint it every 5-7 years.
Take a tip from Rick and put down the paintbrush and call Rhino Shield for your free evaluation. 877-25-RHINO. 877-25-RHINO. Or visit 877-25rhino.com.
We got Rhino Shield 18 years ago. Financially makes sense, especially if it's going to last like this did. Still looks great.
Call now. 877-25-RHINO or 877-25rhino.com.
Don't paint, don't Rhino, go Rhino Shield. Never paint your house again. Rhino Shield.
KLGY HD3 Clayton, K270BW Bellefonte, KNBS Bowling Green. This is News Talk STL at 1019, 94.1, and always streaming at NewstalkSTL.com.
Hour from townhall.com. I'm Rich Thomason. This morning finds President Trump on Capitol Hill. He's urging every member of the House Republican majority to get behind his big, beautiful bill. The president says the bill, while trimming spending, will not jeopardize Medicare and Medicaid.
We're not touching anything. All I want is one thing, 3 words. We don't want any waste, fraud, or abuse. Very simple.
The president says it's the Democrats who will destroy important benefits programs through out-of-control, wasteful spending. More heavy weather has pounded the country's midsection. 4 tornadoes confirmed last evening in Oklahoma and Nebraska. Elsewhere, storm victims trying to salvage whatever they can in the aftermath of powerful storms several days ago.
Severe weather did the most damage in Kentucky. Residents around the town of London are trying to clean up 3 days after a storm hit the bluegrass state. London's airport is a beehive of activity. Residents there are picking up water, food, diapers, and other supplies.
Correspondent Andrew Stewart. President Trump continues to press for a ceasefire in Ukraine.
After speaking with Russia's Vladimir Putin for about 2 hours, President Trump announced the agreement to start talks toward a ceasefire and eventual end to the war. He also had a call with Ukrainian President Zelensky and several European leaders. In a statement posted online, the president mentioned that the Vatican is open to hosting the ceasefire negotiations.
White House correspondent Greg Clugston. In Louisiana, an Orleans Parish Sheriff's Office employee is under arrest in connection with Friday's escape of 10 inmates. The Louisiana Attorney General's office confirms the arrest, but does not identify the person or detail any possible charges in the case. Watching Wall Street this morning, the Dow is down 47 points, and NASDAQ is off 71. More on these stories at townhall.com.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm.
Hi, I'm Chuck McDowell, the timeshare cancellation guy and founder of Wesley Financial Group. And I want to set the record straight. I am not an attorney. I've never wanted to be an attorney. And the truth is, I really don't even like attorneys. If I sound like an attorney, I'll apologize. But what I've learned in my 15 years in the timeshare cancellation business is you don't need to be an attorney to get folks out of their timeshare. At Wesley, we've helped over 40,000 families cancel their timeshare, and I want to share with you how we do it. Just give my office a call. I guarantee if we take you as a client, we'll get you out of your timeshare, or you'll pay nothing. Attorneys, this was meant to be funny, so please don't sue me, especially my friend Kenneth from Black River Falls, Wisconsin.
Call now for your free timeshare exit info kit. 800-613-5454. 800-613-5454. 800-613-5454.
This hour of News Talk STL is brought to you by Stifel, serving investors for over 130 years. Contact your Stifel financial advisor at stifel.com. That's STIFEL.com. From the Michaels Flooring Outlet Weather Center.
One more round of thunderstorms possible before we can breathe a little easier. Let's be on the lookout for scattered thunderstorms from around noon to 6 p.m. today. If these storms can get organized, severe weather is once again possible. 82 for the afternoon high, with winds turning from the south to the west as a cold front moves through. Mostly clear and dry tonight, down to 56. And then Wednesday through Friday, beautiful stretch of weather, partly cloudy and cooler with highs near 70. That's your first alert forecast. I'm meteorologist Matt Chambers.
This hour, the Vic Porcelli Show, brought to you by Proctor Drapery Blinds and Shutters. Proctor, spelled like doctor. ProctorDrapery.com. Vic Porcelli.
Come on, you're Italian. You understand.
Every day is a busy day all of a sudden.
You talking to me? You talking to me?
Tough and smart, and I love Italian, so, he's definitely Italian.
At least I have this show to come and talk about it and let some stuff up.
What kind of a show are you guys putting on here today?
The Vic Porcelli Show.
All right, hour number 2 of 3, courtesy of Ken Father Williams.
No, you can't do that anymore. One day you said.
Are you going to? Oh, did I say that?
Yeah.
Okay.
You did.
Are you going to do that anymore?
Maybe.
Are you going to officiate any more weddings?
No, I think it was a one-off because my niece, my lovely niece, Courtney Kelly, asked me to.
Okay. We're going to talk to Drew Thomas Allen coming up at 10:41. Missouri State Senator Nick Schroer after a relatively successful legislative session.
Yeah.
And right now, our guest is Cindy Blanton, Bauer Insurance Broker. Hi, Cindy. How are you?
I'm good, Vic. How are you?
Good. Thanks for coming in. Now
Thanks
you're
for
going to.
having.
Oh, you bet. So you're going to be a sponsor on JC's Wayback Machine.
Yes.
You sure you want to get mixed up with that guy?
Well, I guess so.
I kid. I just. So I got to tell you a funny story about JC that just happened 24 hours ago. I used to work with him. He did mornings and I did middays at the river way back when. And so we'd see each other every day. And he has a alter ego called Twister Boy.
Okay.
And because he thinks he's like a meteorologist. He's not, but he's pretty good at nailing them. So he got us shirts. We all had shirts that said Twister Boy, real big on the front. And on the sleeves, it had a little tornado and it said, "Watching the skies." So last night, I said to JC, because he posted something about the weather, I said, "Twister Boy, watching the skies." He goes, "I'm on it." So he's a character, but he's,
Does he have one of those spidey senses and stuff?
He does. Not just about weather.
Okay.
On some other things too. And I got to tell you, the show you are sponsoring is doing tremendous.
Oh,
first
good,
of all,
Good.
ton
Well,
of people.
I chose wisely then.
Yes, you did. The only thing better would have been our show. But don't worry about that. We don't.
Well, I'll talk to Ethan about that.
Okay. But the show is so unique. It's not just some guy playing 70s, 80s, and 90s music. It's the stories. It's the interviews, A+ interviews, he calls them, and segments from the past, from when he did mornings and for how long? 30 years or more, right?
Yeah.
And it's just a pleasure to listen to. Ken spends his Saturday nights on his new deck that he built.
Yep.
Listening to JC's Wayback Machine.
Speaking of new decks, do you cover insurance cover decks
Yes.
at houses?
Yes.
Oh,
yes.
you do. Okay.
Anything that's attached or even unattached that's part of a homeowner's policy.
Awesome.
This is great. Cindy, I asked her before we got on the air, car, home insurance. Yep. What else besides car and home?
Well, it's all encompassing a personal line. So you've got home and auto, basically the two most biggest investments of your lives. You also have your toys, everything from motorcycles to RVs, side by sides. I can even insure small use tractors that you can buy if you've got a tractor that you've got maybe a little plot of land that you want to tow or mow or whatever. That'll even cover that, on specific policies. So, and everything from that to businesses as well.
So Friday's weather, last night's weather must be a nightmare for you because the phones probably don't stop ringing.
It can be a little daunting at times. I hate looking at the radar and hearing tornado sirens and I'm thinking, okay, how many calls I'm going to wake up to the next day? Knock on wood, I've been very fortunate to where it's not a ton, but yes, that can be very daunting because then you've got a lot of your clients who are also become very good friends as well. I consider all conversations. The first and foremost, I always ask, are you okay? You're the more important of this. Everything else can be rebuilt and replaced. So if you are having any issues, I step them through every single thing that they do. So I ask them all the pertinent questions on what they need. What can I do for them? Is it something that is a claimable item? Okay, what your deductibles are, and go through all of that process. And obviously, if a tornado has come through and has taken off half their house, then obviously we need to put in a claim. And then I step them through the process. I'll walk them through. I will do the claim for them on their behalf, be a kind of a liaison between the claims, the insured, the carrier, as well as the insured. I always say I'm the biggest advocate when it comes to my clients. I will go to bat for them with the insured. If I have to push back to the carrier and say, this isn't right, let's make it right, then I will absolutely do that. I'm not afraid to push back to my carriers, and all my carriers, my underwriters, my sales reps all know I push back because it's my clients that's important here. It's what they need to be taken care of.
It's great to hear.
So that's
that's what people are looking for when those times happen. They need someone, an advocate like that.
Right.
And we're talking to Cindy Bauer. She's the owner of Bauer. Cindy Blanton, the owner of Bauer Insurance. And Cindy, can you tell us like how you got started in this?
Sure. Well, I consider myself a Renaissance woman, reality, because I have got a lot of backgrounds and a lot of different facets as I've just gone through my professional journey, leading myself up to this. This is my father's company. He started in '86. I won't tell my age, but I was a teenager.
You're getting close.
That's all I'm going to say. But so I've known about this world for a long time. And when he got started on it, and then about 12 years ago, his assistant was leaving, and I had a little bit of free time. And I've worked with him and for him on and off for years.
Yeah.
And I said, "What do you think about me coming on and just being your assistant part-time?" And he goes, "Well, yeah, well, I like that. I'm used to you coming in and working for me here and there." And so I started that. And then a couple years after that, I said, well, in order for me to really communicate with the clients, I need to be licensed, because you can't talk real estate or insurance unless you are actually licensed.
Right.
So I went through that, got my license, and then became what they call as a customer service representative, a CSR, in turn what that is. And just slowly started working my way. And I actually got my own little bit of clientele, and was able to bring in some friends. My husband referred people to me.
That's great.
So, and I was able to kind of cultivate a little bit of that. So then a couple years ago, I just finally went, "Dad, you're 80 plus years old now. You need to retire." And so we kind of worked out an exit plan. And I then took over the business about 2 years ago. And I've grown it since I've had it. And I've just kind of get a nice steady flow of new people. And so I'm loving it. It's nice because my motto and my slogan on all my business information is a company that, if I can even remember it here, a company that protects a name you can trust.
All right. I like
So that is what I do. I protect, a home and your business are large investments. You need to be able to have somebody that is in your corner and protecting your investments. And if I can pave the way and try to do that for you, I'm absolutely going to do that for you. Like I said before, I'm your biggest advocate.
So let me ask, this is not under some umbrella of a bigger company, right?
No,
So it's just you.
I'm just a little independent. I am a God-fearing, conservative, woman-owned business that is very much a devout Christian. I have a loving family, a loving husband. My father and my mother raised me to have good morals and good values, and how to fight for the underdog, to be always the best advocate for another human life.
So I think this is a big advantage to people, because a big company, right? Big national company. Has anybody had any complaints about big national companies?
Well,
Ken?
as a matter of fact,
right?
I was talking with you off the microphone about our current insurance provider, and they've changed over the. I mean, we've been with them faithfully, never a late payment since 1995.
And I think when you call a big company like that, you never know who you're going to get.
Well, yeah. Originally, we thought, well, they're really personable, like you're talking about.
Right.
Okay. But they somehow got lost, and they lost the idea that they were helping individuals. Right. And that's what I felt. And I feel that way today.
Right. The advantage, because I'm an independent agent and I represent multiple carriers. So like other big companies, like what you've mentioned, they might be a captive, basically meaning that that's just one carrier, one agent, one carrier. I have all these different. So if one carrier, let's say that their rates get a little bit crazy, it's like ebb and flows. It's each carrier kind of does their own little song and dance with one another. So you can stay within my agency, but I may move you to a different carrier. So I can shop within my own agency. I don't, and that's the thing is, okay, if there's issues with your renewals, if issues with one carrier, well, let me just see what another carrier will do.
Yeah.
So that's the big advantage to my agency and having an independent agency is I can just go from one to another. And sometimes you kind of go in a perpetual loop of this carrier to this carrier. And obviously the more insurability you have is the more you can stay with one carrier for longevity, because that's going to give you stability, insurability, and things like that. So that's where you need to kind of look at that as well. So it's that is the advantage of having more of the independent aspect versus having another agency that is a captive with another larger firm.
I mean, this to me is stuff I don't want to do. So you might as well do for me, right? You know what I'm saying?
Right.
I'm
And
lazy. I don't like talking about this kind of stuff.
Right.
Hey, Cindy, can you help me out here?
Right. And there is a lot of information that I would have to collect, and it's a bit daunting, asking a lot of details, but I have to know you. I have to know your background. I have to know the type of cars you have, the type of house you have, and all of that. And the one thing that is, I have an advantage because I'm also a licensed real estate broker.
Oh, wow.
Oh, okay.
So my husband is a real estate broker.
Wow.
So that's where some of my client base comes from, is from his client base. Hey, are you looking for homeowners insurance? I also have lenders that send me referrals.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, this is a really good gal. She can help you out. And they'll send me those referrals. So having a real estate background, I understand someone who's just buying a house. I understand how to talk to lenders, how to talk to title companies, all of that information. So I actually have access to our multiple listing service. So, oh, you've bought a house? Okay, give me the address. I'll look it up in the multiple list service, and then I will get all the pictures, all of the details regarding that house. That's less that the client has got to remember, especially if they're just buying the house. I don't know if it's got, this type of siding. It's like, it was a whirlwind for me. I don't remember everything. And so I can look up all of that information on their behalf and just verify it with them without them thinking about everything, because they're already thinking about a lot on a new purchase.
Yeah, we're talking with Cindy Blanton, the owner of Bauer Insurance. And Cindy, it's great to have you in, especially at this time, because of what everybody's going through right now. And, there are people that aren't on your insurance plans, but is there something you could tell them to maybe look out for with their insurance provider in this time that they're experiencing all these storms and everything?
Yes, deductibles. It is no more of flat deductibles anymore. So when you're looking at your insurance policy and making a claim, be very, very aware of what your wind and hail deductible is.
Yep.
It is not just all other causes of loss deductible anymore. We call them perils. So it's an all other cause of loss. Wind and hail is the biggest culprit that insurance carriers, that's why rates are going up. That is, they're saying we need the client to have more financial responsibility to the home. So, and I would not use your homeowner's insurance as a maintenance plan. It is not designed to be a maintenance plan.
Okay.
What do you mean by that?
Meaning, if you have got a 17, 18, 19, 20-year-old roof, I'm going to wait till that next big hailstorm and I'll get a new roof, and I'm not going to have to pay as much as I'd pay out of pocket if I did it myself. That's what I mean by maintenance plan.
So what's the alternative to that?
Alternative is to be the responsible homeowner and actually look at getting your roof replaced without waiting for that wind and hailstorm to come up.
Gotcha.
But that does happen sometimes.
Oh yeah, that's part of why. But what insurance companies are doing now is they are getting smarter. They're saying, okay, by the age of 15 years, if your roof if we have no documentation that you've got a new roof and it's 15 years or older, we're going to put a limited roof replacement on it, meaning an actual cash value, just like if you bought a car, it depreciates. Your roof depreciates. So they will look at what a depreciated value roof would be and then pay you accordingly.
So it's good to keep receipts, right? To have documentation when you put the roof on and siding and anything in your house. So now let me ask you a question. We had this tree in our backyard that I was waiting, I swear to God, for the next storm for this tree to come crashing right through the window and kill me while I'm laying on the couch. It was dead.
Mm-hmm.
And we had people come out and look at it. We finally picked Roots Plus, who I absolutely love to do it. And my wife asked him, so what if this tree just fell and, fell into the house? He says, well, because it's dead, it'll be neglect. You won't be able to collect on that because it's a dead tree. You didn't maintain the tree, I mean, maintain the tree.
Right.
So we got rid of it anyway. But it's just that, deductibles can be something that's a make or break for people sometimes.
If a deductible fell on your house, or a tree, sometimes the deductible does fall on your house. If a tree falls on your house, the insurance carrier will come out and assess the situation on whether or not, okay, yep, it was dead. You should have known it was dead. We don't always know that a tree is dead.
Right.
It may not give you the expectation or the look of it being dead.
Right.
We had a huge oak tree in our yard that we had no idea that it was dead. We hear this big crash, and it fell right in the right position. It just fell right on the yard.
Didn't hit anything.
Just did not hit
Perfect
thing.
Yeah.
And we just hear this huge crash. And okay, so we called a tree service. They cut it up, ground down the stump, and put some sod down, and there you go.
Well, like at our house in the backyard, we have this majestic tree, beautiful lotus tree. It's probably over 100 years old. And my big concern is not even so much on landing on my house, but if it lands on somebody else's house. I mean, you got to.
If it's in your yard and they land on their house, then you're the liable individual.
Right.
So trees are tricky because they got to where what on the land, what part of the land, who's responsible. Oh, the overhang was on the neighbors, but the root's in your yard. So that's where the insurance companies are going to play a little song and dance with one another and figure out who's the faulty one. Who does that tree actually
just like a car accident?
Exactly.
Just like who's at fault?
Well, it sounds like you know what you're talking about with that. Yes. So that's good.
All right. So JC's Wayback Machine, Saturday night, 6 to 9. It's a show that JC plays music that you just don't get to hear on the radio anymore. Right. You used to hear them, and now radio stations have abandoned them, and JC's kind of adopted them and plays them. And I'll tell you, sometimes you pull some songs out, Ken. I'm like, wow.
I know.
Steely Dan. Yeah. I mean, just unbelievable. And the great stories and everything. And
the commercials, too. He has some throwback commercials.
Yes, that's right. I forgot about that. It really is truly a Wayback Machine.
Yeah.
And now you're a part of it.
I'm a part of it. Yay.
Awesome.
So how do we get in touch with you, even if we just want to find out information?
Well, you can call my phone number. I've got my phone number is 636-812-2001. I'm there Monday through Friday.
Okay.
I also have a website, BauerInsuranceAgency.com. You can reach me through that way as well.
Perfect. 636-812-2001 or BauerInsurance.com.
BauerInsuranceAgency.com. It's all spelled out. BAUER for Bauer.
Cindy, thanks for coming in.
Thank you so much, guys.
It was great to meet you.
You as well. Thank you.
You'll do great on JC's show. The show's doing great.
Thank you so much. Well. I appreciate it.
Learned a lot there.
Yeah.
I'm glad we got rid of that dead tree, I swear to God, because that's what would have happened. You know my luck, right?
Yeah.
I'll be laying on the couch. The tree will come down right down on me and kill me. All right, Nick Schroer, state senator. He's next on 101.9, 94.1 News Talk STL, number one for live and local conservative talk.
Watch us on our live stream using Rumble, Facebook, and Twitter. You're listening to the Vic Porcelli Show.
You've used a phrase, I want to make sure I understand what you mean by it. You've referred to people with a capacity for pregnancy. Would that be women?
Made in St. Louis, for St. Louis. It's News Talk STL. This Dr. Randy Tobler segment is brought to you by Advanced Dentistry Now. Doctors Dan Cusimano and Dr. Megan Dwyer, 636-978-0226, or visit them on the web at advanceddentistrynow.com.
I'm Dr. TJ, owner of the Institute of Natural Health, co-owner of Optimal Nutraceuticals, and the host of Wellness One. Wellness One is designed to cut through the nonsense and provide you common sense, science-based information regarding health and wellness. On the show, we discuss topics like thyroid health, gut health, hormone optimization, and many others. Our show airs Saturdays at 10 a.m. and 2 p.m. and Sundays at 11 a.m. and 3 p.m. right here on Newstalk STL. And you can visit us at inhstl.com. That's inhstl.com.
Attention Chesterfield, your beverage destination has arrived. Introducing the all-new Save On Liquor and Wine Chesterfield, a massive 30,000 square foot paradise. Step inside our walk-in humidor featuring the largest selection of premium cigars anywhere. From craft beers to fine wines, top-shelf liquors to trendy spritzers. We got it. Competitive prices, knowledgeable staff, and an unbeatable selection. Visit the new Chesterfield Airport Road location today, one of our many stores across Missouri and Illinois, or at saveonliquor.com.
Tired of floors that don't stand up to real life? Hometown Floors has the solution. With 40 years of experience, they know floors. 100% made in the USA. Luxury vinyl, laminate carpet, pet-friendly, and built to last. Free in-home estimates, professional installation, and satisfaction guaranteed. Hometown Floors, making small business great again. Check us out at hometownfloorsonline.com.
I'm Missouri Attorney General Andrew Bailey. Human trafficking is occurring right here in Missouri. You can help combat it by learning the signs of human trafficking and reporting suspicious activity to law enforcement. Victims may appear malnourished, show signs of mental or physical abuse, or avoid social interaction. If you're a victim or know someone who needs help, contact the National Human Trafficking Hotline at 1-888-373-7888 or text the word HELP to Be Free. Together, we can fight human trafficking in Missouri.
Brought to you by the Missouri Attorney General's Office.
If you find yourself feeling out of place in the world, it's comforting to know conservative values haven't been abandoned everywhere.
The far left wants to destroy conservative values in America.
This is News Talk STL. Welcome home. Talk lines are open now at 314-912-1019. The Vic Porcelli Show.
Court will take a 60-minute recess for lunch.
Your Honor, I respectfully request a full day's continuance to go over all this stuff.
Made in St. Louis for St. Louis. It's News Talk STL.
And welcome to it. 1019 and 94.1 News Talk STL. I'm Vic Porcelli. That guy there, he is Ken Williams. I can't call him Father Williams anymore. I did yesterday, and that's it. He officiated a wedding. You officiate one wedding, you get 1 day calling you Father.
That's right.
Do it again. Let me know. We'll call you Father again.
All right.
All right, let's go.
He's known by many names.
We the people are in charge. We are going to save our republic.
Nikki Two Shows. Schroer the Thrower. Twitter trolls love to hate him.
We love Vic Porcelli so much.
He's Nick Schroer, Missouri State Senator.
Good morning, State Senator. How are you?
I am wonderful. How are you guys?
Doing good. We had a relatively
fine day that we have.
Yes. Relatively good legislative session. Nick, nice job.
I think so. Not everything got done that we wanted to. There's a possibility of a special session, which we can dive into. But yeah, I think overall, compared to the last 6, 7, 8 sessions, I think the pros outweighed the cons.
I think the Freedom Caucus, Tim Jones talks about it all the time, and here's another Freedom Caucus win. What were some of the big Freedom Caucus wins for you and Tim and the rest of you good old Freedom Caucus guys?
Well, it was a different year. If you remember the past 2 years, we had previous leadership attacking the Freedom Caucus, taking bills away from us, taking bills that we had passed for many years on one side of the chamber, taking them away from us and giving them to other members, taking away parking spots, chairmanships. And then this year we come out of the gate working with the governor, working with leadership to get the big crime package done, which dealt with, and this was all encompassing, it dealt with the management of the city of St. Louis police. And that is starting to take place right now. They've got a interim manager since we had the emergency clause signed on that. Ultimately, they're in the process of trying to pick the individuals that are going to work with law enforcement on that board. But it doesn't stop there. That bill also dealt with giving tools to law enforcement to eradicate illegal immigration, to go after fentanyl dealers, to stop. We just saw it a couple weeks ago. If we would have had the manpower, it would have happened a lot sooner. But in the city of St. Louis, we saw those street takeovers with these dirt bikes and side-by-sides and all these other all-terrain vehicles, stopping traffic, driving around, cars doing wheelies in the streets. We gave them the tools to prosecute these individuals as well. And what did a lot of the criminals do? They just left their cars there. And, the police, the police now have an extra tool in their toolbox. So that was the first bill of the session. And the very last bill of the session was a Freedom Caucus bill, which dealt with the pro-life issue, putting the pro-life issue back on the ballot in 2026, or whenever the governor calls an election for that. And ultimately, we looked at what the voters wanted. We dealt with what the voters wanted, but we stopped all of the heinous overreach, so to speak, of what Amendment 3 was. And Amendment 3 ultimately threw out all of the good regulations, all of the bipartisan regulations for health and safety of not only the unborn, but for moms and any legal recourse that they have. That's all thrown out the window. So those were two of the big wins, but we've got a ton of them. And if you go on social media and you find the Missouri Freedom Caucus, we've kind of laid out a laundry list of the big wins that we had this year. But it doesn't just stop with the bills that we passed. There were a couple bills, or a couple things rather, that we did stop. We stopped some bad legislation. I know we've kind of briefly spoken about it here on this show, but it was the glyphosate bill, giving glyphosate manufacturers legal immunity. We learned from the COVID years that granting any company, any business, any manufacturer blanket immunity is just wrong, and it's against the 7th Amendment. And we also stopped there was an appointment that Governor Kehoe had to the state education board. And ultimately, we dug in and we did some opposition research on this guy. He had donated to Chris Koster, Crystal Quaid. All of these egregious Democrats had been on podcasts where they were talking about abortion as health care and some of the most heinous things that you would not want somebody overseeing the state education. And we worked with the governor. He pulled that person back and is going to appoint somebody different. So a lot of big wins. If you follow us on social media, we're laying all that out, and we're going to dive deep into detail in each and every one of those later on this year.
All right. So this is interesting, Nick. It's where two different bills or laws collide. The IP bill and the A3, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because the initiative petition is so important, because if you're going into a store, Target or something like that, and there's people out in front of the store, and they're saying, they got a clipboard, and they ask you, hey, do you want to sign a petition for, ready, here it comes, women's health? And it's actually the abortion, right? So with IP reform and getting A3 back, we can be back in business, but they're so slimy about it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's exactly what we've heard, not only with Amendment 3, but even with Clean Missouri. I remember when I was in the Missouri House, and I had in Lake St. Louis, there's a clubhouse there, a little golf course, and a place where people can have events. And somebody, one of these groups that was trying to collect signatures for Clean Missouri, they basically told all the people that were there, senior citizens, hey, this is about cleaning up politics, getting lobbyist gift bands out, getting the turnaround time when a former legislator can become a lobbyist. No mention of the fact that they were giving the only elected statewide Democrat at the time the ability to redraw our districts. No mention of that. So when I had constituents that found that out after listening to this show and others, where I was mentioning, hey, this is bad news. They're hiding this poison pill in there. We had individuals trying to get their signature taken off of that and taken back. And ultimately, the same thing happened. I remember two older ladies that went into the library in St. Charles County and said, hey, I signed something that dealt with women's health care, but now I'm looking at the Secretary of State. I can't find it anywhere. I think I signed something for abortion. And that's exactly one of the things that's one of the things we're going to have to address. And I've talked to Governor Kehoe with the special session he's wanting to call on the stadiums in Kansas City. I've indicated two things. Look, we can kill two birds with one stone. You can have the debate on the best route to save the Chiefs and the Royals. I'm not a big fan of corporate welfare, especially after what has happened with the Rams debacle in the city of St. Louis. But we can talk, we can negotiate and come to the table if you're willing to bring up initiative petition reform and pass that, personal property tax, income tax reform, income tax repeals. The people back here, not the big NFL team and MLB owners, the stadium owners, the people are hurting and we need help. So hopefully here in the next couple of weeks, we'll learn more if the governor's willing to wheel and deal and add some tax relief or initiative petition reform to the special session.
Nick, when you talk about term limits, who anybody jump out who's going to get termed
Nancy
out?
Pelosi.
No, I'm sorry. You guys. But is there anybody that you're going to lose that you really are sad to see go because they're getting termed out?
Well, it always happens. There's good and bad. In the past couple of years, we had somebody like Caleb Rowden, who was the leader, who arguably was in the middle of a lot of these fights. He was termed out, but then we had a good friend of mine, Bill Eigel, who was termed out.
Yeah.
And, interestingly enough, with the dynamic and all the personalities gone, this year we've got two great people in leadership who, I know we've talked about in the past, why are we doing things the past couple of years the way that we were doing them? And again, we focus on a lot of the personality rifts and all of the feuds that were going on. Well, this year, with those out of the way, the two people that have really, I've given a lot of applause, Adam Schnelting, Rick Bratton, and Tim Jones. The Freedom Caucus has applauded Cindy O'Laughlin and Tony Luetkemeyer for standing up, utilizing the PQ, and the Democrats wanted to use the nuclear option of filibustering damn near everything. And they've grown a backbone. They've grown a spine, saying we're going to put the Republican Party and our policies first. In years past, we saw Democrat bills coming forth in the Senate, and we're sitting here scratching our heads saying we've got a supermajority Republican Party. Why are we passing these Democrat bills? Well, it was a lack of leadership. Well, this year we've got leadership. They are sticking to their guns, but unfortunately they're going to be termed out in 2 years. Now, is that going to open a door for someone in the Freedom Caucus? And I think ultimately we'll find that answer out in the Winter Caucus this year. And I think it's largely going to depend on who the voters are going to send, because there's an exorbitant amount of other seats across Missouri and the Kansas City side and the northern side and the southern side that are terming out. So if we get conservatives, if we get hardcore conservatives, constitutional conservatives that are going to come and join us in the Senate, then I firmly believe we're going to see somebody like a Rick Bratton and Adam Schnelting, or hell, even yours truly, getting into leadership.
How many more years till you get termed out? We don't want that to happen. When's that going to be?
Well, I will be up for re-election next year.
Okay, good.
And God willing, if the people send me back, then I'll have 4 extra years to go up there and piss off the liberals and save Missouri.
That's what you do.
There you go.
So the Missouri Scout, I'm sure you're familiar with them. They grade senators and representatives, and you got an A, buddy.
Ooh. Well, that's I don't know what to think about that, because the Missouri Scout, they try to be fair and balanced. And I will say they do a good job on reporting what's going on. However, I do know that the guy behind it all leans more left. But I will say, I am kind of proud of the work that we've done this year. There were several bills that I voted against that ultimately squeaked across the finish line. But there are a lot of bills that we either stopped or spearheaded and got to the governor's desk. So you're seeing a new wave of conservatism. You're seeing a new wave of the people being represented in Jefferson City like we've never seen before. Now, did I have a hand in that? Sure. I'm very humble in trying to pat myself on the back. But I will say it's a team effort, from the staff that we've had to the leadership that we've had, and just the Republicans coming together right at the end of the year to sign 2 PQs to move the previous question, shut down the Democrats from filibustering, which they did for over a week. If you calculated all of the time that the Democrats filibustered this year, it would probably equate to about a month and a half.
Wow.
A month and a half of what they've done in session. And instead of sitting there and crying and pouting like Republicans would have done in other years, we came together and we represented the people. So hopefully we can have an A+ next year, and hopefully the rest of the Republicans can as well.
All right. Session's over now, so you got more time to come pay us a visit, and we'll talk about more national stuff in the weeks to come. Sunday night, 6 to 8 o'clock, Stand and Fight. Nick Schroer, you have a great day, buddy.
I will, and I'll be updating you on my trip to Washington, D.C. and the White House, which I'm flying out tomorrow. So tune in this Sunday. Tune in every Sunday. God bless you, boys.
Whoa. You're going to the White. You're going to meet the president? Are you going to meet the president?
Well, I've been talking to Will Scharf, and we don't know if the president's going to be there, but we have a trip to the White House on Thursday. So if I do, I'll try to get some signatures for you, try to get him on the line, but we'll have a lot of updates for you guys.
Slip him our phone number with a business card or something, Write it on his hand, something like that. All right. Nick, thank you so much, buddy.
Hey, God bless you, Nick Schroer.
That's all I got to hear is that he's going to go see President Trump. He's Italian. I love Italians. Doesn't he say that? He loves Italians?
He does say that.
Every day on the show.
He does say that.
Oh, God. What's it take? All right. So I want you to be aware of something, and I want let's do this right out in the open, transparency. Drew Thomas Allen is next. I want you to ask him just not to cuss.
Okay.
And not to use words that he used. You know, the word he uses a lot starts with an R.
Right.
Not use that word.
Right.
All right. Tell him to keep it clean. If he wants. If he doesn't, don't worry about it. He's next on 1019 and 94.1 News Talk STL, number one for live and local conservative talk.
Watch us on our live stream using Rumble, Facebook, and Twitter. You're listening to the Vic Porcelli Show.
After I signed the PAC Act into law.
Crack-a-lackin'! You are speaking my crack-a-lackin' language.
The PAC Act.
Made in St. Louis for St. Louis. It's News Talk STL. 1019 and 94.1 News Talk STL. Live and local.
Listen to what those local folks are telling you.
News Talk STL.
Hungry for the best steak you'll ever have? Head to the heart of Moscow Mills and discover Harry J's, a local landmark and family-owned steakhouse, serving up excellence since '98. From mouth-watering appetizers to decadent desserts, Harry J's has something for everyone. Enjoy our extensive bar selection while soaking in our friendly family atmosphere. Whether dine-in or carry-out, your meal is prepared to perfection. Make the drive to 300 Main Street and treat yourself to a taste of Moscow Mills' finest. Harry J's, more than a steakhouse. We're a tradition.
Concerned about the condition of your windows driving up your energy bills? I was too, until I called STL Windows and Doors. Call today for your free in-home estimate and start saving tomorrow. 314-277-5952 or stlwindowsanddoors.com.
Hi, Sean Long from STL FenceWorks. A new fence or deck is an investment in your home and your lifestyle. But how do you ensure that you're getting the most out of that investment? At STL FenceWorks, we know the key is satisfaction. Satisfaction means getting a fence or deck that not only meets your needs, but exceeds your expectations. Satisfaction means working with a team that cares about your project as much as you do. Satisfaction means having confidence in the quality of your new fence or deck, knowing that it was built with the best of materials and workmanship. STL FenceWorks, your satisfaction is our passion. And for me, satisfaction is knowing that providing for your family is how I provide for mine. Visit stlfenceworks.com and experience the satisfaction in making your backyard dreams into a reality.
Fox News commentary.
Was Biden's cancer diagnosis part of the big cover-up too? I'm Tommy Lahren. More next.
I'm alpine skier Michaela Schifrin. I've won the most World Cup ski races in history. But what does success mean to me? Success means discipline. It's teamwork. It's the drive and passion inside of us. And it's why Stifel is one of the fastest growing global wealth management firms in the country. If you're looking for success, surround yourself with the people who will get you there. If you're an advisor or investor, choose Stifel, where success meets success.
Stifel Nicholas and Company Incorporated, member SIPC and NYSE.
Past performance is no indication of future results. Investing involves risk. Consult a financial advisor before making any investment decisions.
Sorry to hear of former President Biden's prostate cancer diagnosis. But that being said, it doesn't mean the public will entirely avoid the conversation about his physical and mental decline. As a concerned citizen, I'm not going to shy away from saying what many of us are thinking. How did a president with arguably the best medical care and team in the world get taken by surprise with this advanced diagnosis? Many of us are questioning it. And it's not because we're mean. It's because we've been lied to for years. For his medical team to really have missed the signs and symptoms of prostate cancer until it got to this advanced point is hard to fathom. Was this part of the cover-up too? The timing of the announcement comes just as the Biden White House tell-all books are coming out, and those in his circle, as well as powerful Democrats, are being needled about what they knew and when they knew it. So this announcement seems like it was meant to chill the discussion. It's not going to work. I'm Tommy Lahren, and you can watch my show, Tommy Lahren is Fearless, at Outkick.com.
Columbo and Company.
Trump just got a big win on immigration from the Supreme Court. We'll get the details Tuesday with Susie Moore from Red State. Plus, we'll talk to Crane Durham from NothingButTruth.com.
Live and local, weekdays at 2 on Newstalk STL. This hour, the Vic Porcelli Show, brought to you by Proctor Drapery Blinds and Shutters. Proctor, spelled like doctor. ProctorDrapery.com. Talk lines are open now at 314-912-1019. The Vic Porcelli Show.
Be cool, honey bunny. Be cool.
Made in St. Louis for St. Louis. It's News Talk STL.
Good morning. How's everybody doing? So we have a whole other hour to go, which is great. We're going to talk to Dennis Kneale because Elon Musk is not doing Doge personally now anymore. At least he's not in the cabinet meetings and stuff.
Right.
So,
but Doge is still as strong as ever.
Yes, but Dennis Kneale has concerns because Elon was a figure, was a character,
sure,
to be reckoned with, and so we'll talk to him about that. Chat box 1141, 1125. I just don't know yet. Okay, don't bug me. Get out of my ass. Let's talk to Drew.
Drew Allen of the Drew Allen Show podcast.
It's people who love this country and respect freedom and want to preserve it for the future. You know, it really shouldn't be political.
Amico mio, come stai?
Ciao, buongiorno, Ciccio. Sono molto contento.
Good morning, Drew. How are you?
Good morning. I'm doing well.
So, turns out Joe Biden's got cancer, Drew.
Yeah.
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 Where do we want to go with this?
I don't know. Let's start with, all right, I'll tell you what. Let's start with, Ken, what did I ask you about? 6. Scott Jennings, who was the one conservative voice on CNN, and what he had to say, and this is really the big lie.
If I had a nickel for every time I had heard an anchor or a fellow commentator use the phrase, the big lie, after the 2020 election, I'd be a rich man. But I wonder what they have to say for themselves now about the lies that we were told about Joe Biden. Oh, behind closed doors, he's fine. He's riding unicycles and juggling knives and doing trigonometry blindfolded. What would they say about the enormous conspiracy that was required to cover up this impairment? What would they say about the coordinated smear campaign against anyone who dared question it? And what would they say about the clear fact that unelected people were making decisions in a constitutional republic in the name of a president who had no idea what was going on? Shame on every one of these people who inflicted the real big lie on America and the constitutional crisis upon the people of the United States.
So we got a new big lie, Drew.
Yeah, it's kind of stunning. I mean, I'm trying to wrap my head around this because it's you know, they lied to obviously cover up, you know, the cancer and the health issues. And now they are, you know, using the revelation of this cancer to cover up the fact that they covered up the cancer, right? It's like, you can't talk about this now. You can't criticize us. It's astounding. I mean, I think that, like, even I myself am trying to take this as seriously as it needs to be taken, because there's just we just kind of shrug things off. Honestly, it's kind of our nature. We just survive. We keep moving forward. So much has happened to this country and to Americans, the abuse and the lies from the left, that it's just kind of like, here's another thing. But I mean, we need to contextualize, you know, what happened here. I mean, we had somebody who likely, this is according even to physicians, Democrat physicians, urologists, who had come out and said, you know, he most likely had this, you know, from his first day in office. You know, we've looked at the, you know, this type of cancer, it's aggressive now, it's stage 4. So he's had this the whole time. And I just have so many questions, and some of the answers might be no, but it just puts his whole administration in a different context. We knew that he wasn't running things, but now it's like, okay, like, how do they not know about the prostate cancer? I mean, it just seems impossible to me that they wouldn't know. I mean, the test that you typically do, that the blood test that everyone does, it's routine. Like, even my dad, you know, you get to a certain age, you do that test. You mean to tell me a White House physician didn't run it, that they didn't catch this under all the scrutiny? You know, he had that stiff gait. So obviously, if you have a problem with your prostate, you're going to have issues walking too. Was that related to the prostate cancer? When they dismissed that in 2022 and afterwards, they said, you know, yeah, he's just got a stiff gait. That's it. When he's in Delaware, vacationing every single weekend, it seemed like, was he getting some kind of cancer treatment? Were they hiding him away for a reason? You know, I mean, there's just a lot of questions that come up that you say, okay, well, maybe there was a reason besides him being just old and lazy, that they were putting him in this private situation in Delaware all the time, where they could really control who could see him and who was around him. It's just astonishing. And so, what was valid about those 4 years? I mean, these are questions that we demand, and this is kind of a constitutional crisis in itself, to be honest. I mean, to have somebody who was supposedly elected president, and you find out that this person, more than likely, the probability is they weren't aware of anything happening under their presidency. And so obviously there's a constitutional issue because, they use the auto pen, for everything and for thousands of pardons or hundreds of them, whatever it was. So, okay, this country was destroyed through these different executive orders and things, right, that have to come from the president. But if the president, we find out, wasn't the one that was even signing those or knew what was going on, like, how do you go back and fix that situation from 4 years ago? I mean, for those past 4 years.
I think getting a lot of sunlight is a big part of the I don't want to say therapy when you have this. Maybe that's why Joe was on the beach all the time.
That's a great point, Drew. I mean, but also, Vic, they would never have wanted anybody to know that he was getting chemo. That's just such a fantastic point. He goes to their Delaware home and gets chemo.
Yeah, that's my question. Maybe that's not true. But this is the kind of stuff that comes up. What treatment's happening in Delaware? Is that why he spent so much time at the home? I mean, it was pretty much unprecedented. It's not like Trump going and playing golf or Obama going and playing golf or going to this place or that place. I mean, there's a different circumstance surrounding this with the information that we know. And it explains a lot, right? It explains a lot of things now about him. I mean, and if you're taking some kind of treatment, I mean, how does that affect your mind as well? How does that affect, maybe it's not just a dementia thing. Maybe it is. Maybe it's both. But the point is, they lied to us and they covered it up. And we were just like sitting here, a target for other countries and everything else because we didn't have someone running the country, and they hid it.
So going forward, Drew, does this set some kind of precedent that, hey, you can't hide what's going on anymore, whether you're a Republican or a Democrat? Let us know what's happening. Let us know how your candidate is. We still never had any results from a cognitive test from Joe. President Trump passed 2 cognitive tests, I mean, going forward.
Well, I've got to interrupt for just a second.
Yeah.
We did have a cognitive test, and it was the Robert Herr tapes that were just released, and he failed.
That's true. Not for nothing, but the day after that tape came out, we found that he had cancer. What a bunch of crap, and what a bunch of lying.
And then Hakeem Jeffries comes on and says, "Stop talking about that. We need to move forward."
Yeah, no, we can't talk about Joe anymore.
Yeah, no, we're not moving forward. We're going to stay right here as long as we have to until we ensure that this can never happen to this great country again. But I just want to remind you of one other thing. He had that little emergency scare. He was in Las Vegas. This was 2024. This was right before he dropped out. And he was in Las Vegas, and we know for a fact that I think, Ken, you brought this up one time, or Vic, both of you probably, but he was doing some kind of campaign speech or rally or something like that, a fundraiser perhaps. And it was reported that, there was a diversion because the hospitals were waiting to receive him, and he ended up not going there. He flew straight back to D.C. and I think maybe went to Walter Reed or something like that. But they never explained that to us either.
Yeah,
they kicked all the press off the plane during that incident. And love her or hate her, she may be crazy, but the first person to report on that was Laura Loomer. I just want to say.
Yeah.
All right, let's move on, Drew. 86-47. James Comey had no idea what that 86 meant. He just thought, I know, that was Vic's football number back in Bloomfield High School football.
Right.
Really? Are we buying that he just happened to come across this collection of shells that said 86-47? He had no idea what it meant?
Yeah, this is an awful human being. And this is the former director of the FBI that is, making an insinuation that's irresponsible like this about axing, Donald Trump. He knew exactly what it meant. And what bothers me the most about Comey, it's amazing because the 86-47 is bad enough, right? But you have an former intelligence director that's actually supporting this. And I mean, look, your words do have more weight when you're the former director of the FBI, okay? It's more than when I say something, right? That's just the reality we live in. And so then he goes on TV and he continues to pretend like, he's the victim. He's playing the victim. He went on TV and he's like, I mean, of course, I try and go on a walk with my wife, and now this is happening. No, you piece of crap. It's happening because of what you said and your irresponsibility. And it's worse than irresponsibility. It's intentional. And this is somebody who tried to destroy the first administration with the Trump-Russia collusion hoax. This is somebody who is I think the word traitor, I mean, I don't want to use it too often, but there seem to be a lot of Democrats engaged in that kind of behavior. This is somebody that fits that category, kind of like a Milley. And for him to, I mean, I do love that the Secret Service went and got him and arrested him and all that. I mean, how beautiful. I wish I could have been one of the Secret Service holding on to his arm.
No kidding. And you know what happens here? The biggest problem I have with all this, that guy is such a high-ranking individual from an administration. He was the leader of the FBI. He says this, or he posts this, and shortly thereafter, I don't know if you guys saw this on social media, but they had a rally, and their mantra was 86, 47, 86. So they can get away with it because it's okay to say that stuff now because, well, look, Comey said it.
Yeah, well, and he's so glib. All of these people haven't faced consequences, so they think they are untouchable, and they are not, and they can't be. And this type of stuff's not going to stop until there are repercussions. And I don't know exactly none of us know exactly what Kash Patel and Dan Bongino have found that relates to the Trump-Russia collusion hoax and all that. But, they went on TV with Maria Bartiromo, and they suggested that they have new information about that and new actors and things that we didn't even know about it before. So, it's really important because, we're lucky and I literally, I thank God and his hand in this to some extent that, their efforts didn't succeed. I mean, going all the way back to 2016. I mean, you think about what they put the country through.
Yeah.
And, they treated this country like they treated Ukraine, like they treated other countries in terms of corruption. We'll just go in and rig the election and do this and do that. We'll fix this. We'll come up with a hoax. We'll use the CIA and the FBI to target a political opponent and make sure that we can do everything we can to make our side win. I mean, that's not a first world country. That's not a free country. That's not the United States of America. It's something else that the founders feared. And that cannot be allowed to just pass. Like, it was a period in our history of time, 8 years, and then we moved on. No, there is no moving on until it's dealt with, and that has to be dealt with now. And that's what my hope is that Dan Bongino and Kash Patel are still dealing with.
Drew Allen podcast, also America's Last Stand, Will You Vote to Save or Destroy America in 2024? That's his great book. Drew, thank you so much. We'll chat next week, buddy.
Looking forward to it. God bless you guys.
Hey, God bless you, Drew. We'll see you.
So with Jim Comey, you know what's going to happen?
Nothing.
No.
Ken,
listen, if this were turned around, it would be a dog whistle for violence.
Yeah.
They would say.
Oh, yeah. They would be protesting that.
But we don't get to. We don't get to find out anything. And you know what's going to happen to James Comey? Absolutely nothing. No.
Sorry, but that's just the truth.
Not my fault. I'd be putting his ass in jail.
Yep.
All right. The news and then more. Our third and final hour coming up on News Talk STL. Stick around.
This Memorial Day weekend, bring your crew to Busch Stadium to see the Cardinals take on the D-backs. May 23rd to the 25th, catch great promotions all weekend long, including a Mason Win bobblehead and a Kid City Connect jersey giveaway. Kick off your summer with ballpark hot dogs, ice-cold beers, and entertainment for the whole family. Tickets are available at Cardinals.com. This is how summer is meant to be. See you at the ballpark.
This is Alec Burleson, St. Louis Cardinals, for the Lou.
Catch a Cardinals game on your next date night or friends night out. Whether it's love in the stands or laughter with your crew, nothing beats ballpark vibes under the lights. Cold drinks, great eats, and Cardinals baseball. Check out Friday Night Live at Busch Stadium and enjoy happy hour price food and drinks all game long. Every Friday home game. Get your tickets today at Cardinals.com and make memories that go beyond the scoreboard. Busch Stadium, where great nights begin.
It's a brand new year. Tim Jones to tell you about the brand new things happening at The Hideout, famous for the Sunset Patio, 50 big screen TVs, live music and events, a fantastic game room, and of course, the food. The Hideout has a brand new menu featuring their world famous wings, the best handcrafted burgers, new items like the signature Sunset Dip and Dave's Chili, and a second location at Sugar Creek Golf Course in beautiful High Ridge. Experience the Hideout while enjoying a round of golf. Come in for lunch or dinner. The new 2025 Hideout, hideoutsportsbar.com, hideoutsportsbar.com. We'll definitely see you there.
As we pause to honor those who have made the ultimate sacrifice for our freedom this Memorial Day, let us remember their courage and dedication.
Words cannot measure the depth of their devotion, the purity of their love, or the totality of their courage.
A reminder from local businesses who support our veterans. Williams Brothers Meat Market, Berry Hill Golf Course, D. Gregorio's Food Products, and from News Talk STL.
KLGY HD3 Clayton, K270BW Bellefonte, KNBS Bowling Green. This is News Talk STL at 1019, 94.1, and always streaming at NewstalkSTL.com.
Breaking news this hour from townhall.com. I'm John Scott. Speaking with reporters earlier, President Trump says he's at the Capitol to give Republicans a pep talk as they work on a tax cuts bill.
I'm a cheerleader for this party, and I'm a cheerleader for the country, much more importantly for the country. But I'm a cheerleader for the party, and we're going to go up, and I think we're going to have a very good discussion. There are one or two points that some people feel strongly about.
The president dismissing challenges the bill might cut Medicare and Medicaid funding. Also at townhall.com, another round of tornadoes has struck the central U.S. after 4 days of tornadoes, thunderstorms, and heavy rain killed more than 24 people. At least 4 tornadoes confirmed in Oklahoma and Nebraska on Monday evening. Thousands losing power, homes were destroyed also. Correspondent Bruce Schroer reports that residents of London, Kentucky are determined to bounce back following a Friday night tornado that caused major damage.
Some trees were uprooted, others are standing. No limbs are left, no leaves are left. So lives have been shattered. People are having to start over. And the cleanup is going to last for a lot of days. But the mayor here says that people are resilient. They're determined to rebuild no matter how long it takes.
And the region can expect even more dangerous weather. New Jersey's top federal prosecutor says she's charging Democratic Representative LaMonica McIver with assault after a skirmish with federal officers who arrested the Newark mayor outside an immigration detention center. McIver charged with assaulting, impeding, or interfering with law enforcement. The misdemeanor case brought against Newark Mayor Ross Baraka has been dropped. Authorities arresting an Orleans Parish Sheriff's Office employee. That's in connection with the escape of 10 inmates. 6 of those inmates remain at large. More at townhall.com.
Charlie Kirk here. I've been thinking, why does it feel like losing weight is harder than ever before? Mixed messages, fad diets, and quick fix solutions. Many people are left stuck and exhausted trying to fight a battle they can't seem to win. If you feel this way, you're not alone. I used to feel that way too. But let me tell you, it's not your fault. Your body is working against you, and delaying action only makes it harder. I took a step 2 years ago and called PhD Weight Loss and Nutrition and lost 40 pounds. I feel great and have kept it off. If you are ready to make a change for life, call 855-696-2020. That is 855-696-2020 to schedule your weight loss consultation. The first 11 callers who mention healthy will get 2 free weeks added to their weight loss package. Call 855-696-2020 and mention the word healthy. Visit them at myphdweightloss.com. That is myphdweightloss.com. It works, everybody. Check it out at myphdweightloss.com.
This hour of News Talk STL brought to you by Chris Cooper and Serenity Wealth Management. Discover little-known strategies that could be the difference between choosing the care you deserve or having someone else decide it for you. Get a free copy of Chris's book at serenityltc.com.
Hey, it's Vic Porcelli here with our great friend Chris Cooper from Serenity Wealth Management. Hi, Chris.
How are you, Vic?
I don't want to put anybody else down, but when you go up and visit you at Serenity Wealth, your place looks like home.
So a lot of financial advisory offices, they have, the big mahogany desk or the big marble entryways and things like that. The stock market channel on the TV when you walk in the door, right? That doesn't really drive a good conversation. Good financial guidance and advice starts with a good conversation. People are nervous. People are afraid to talk about finances, right? And so you can see a little standoffish. Well, my objective is to try to have a good casual conversation. By having those conversations about life, goals, objectives. It's what makes me understand what our financials are supposed to fund.
So if somebody does want to have a good conversation, how do they do that? How do they find you?
Our website is the best way to do that because you can get all the information you need to understand where we are, get a little bit more information, all that. SerenityWealthNow.com.
Reach out to Chris and Stacy today at SerenityWealthNow.com.
Investment advice offered through Fortis Capital Advisors, LLC.
Tony Colombo here for Gutter Pros, your all-in-one gutter service team that brings years of experience and quality that's affordable right to your doorstep. We discovered Gutter Pros a few years ago when we bought our home and inherited a gutter issue that was on the road to becoming a potentially big problem, but thanks to Gutter Pros was stopped before causing any major damage. They've also repaired the siding on our home because along with gutter repair, gutter installation, and leaf protection, the Gutter Pros are also the best for siding repair and installation. Learn about all the ways Gutter Pros can help your home at gutterpros.com.
Why leave your company's story to chance? In today's digital world, video content isn't just an option. It's essential for your success. At Blue Ocean Media Group, we've spent decades crafting compelling visual stories for businesses just like yours. From concept to completion, our award-winning team transforms your vision into powerful video content that connects with your audience and drives results. Don't trust your brand to amateurs. Partner with Blue Ocean Media Group. Visit blueoceanmediagroup.com today, and let's bring your story to life.
This hour, the Vic Porcelli Show, brought to you by the Trolley Stop Bakery, the official bakery of the Vic Porcelli Show. You're listening to the Vic Porcelli Show.
For a 3-hour tour, a 3-hour tour. The weather started getting rough.
We squeeze in a dry hump day under partly sunny skies.
From New Jersey to Baldwin, Missouri, to behind the microphone, taking the whoosh to the radical left and the putrid swamp. You're listening to the Vic Porcelli Show. Here he is, Vic Porcelli.
Whoosh. Cutesy time is over. Ken, let me ask you a question.
Yeah, Vic.
Is there any, because I realized something about me, is there any time in your existence where there's not a song in your head?
No, actually, there are times, but for you, maybe not.
Always. It's crazy how there's always a song in my head, and I sing it silently to myself all the time. And for the last 24 hours, it's been a 3-hour tour. I swear to God. Oh, you
earworm.
The skipper to a millionaire. And I swear to God, it's been on my mind in my head for 24 hours. All because of you. Hope you're happy.
I am happy.
All right,
Makes me happy.
Stop it. Stop screwing around. Dennis Kneale, stop screwing around. How you doing? Thanks for being with us.
I'm great, but let me first interject before we get started. Do you know that there were two versions of the Gilligan's Island theme song? The first one
go ahead.
was written and recorded before they hired the professor and Mary Ann.
Right.
They added that line in the second or third season.
I did not know that. I had no idea.
Hey, Dennis, I'm going to call you right back. We're on a bad line or something. You're breaking up really badly. Let me call you right back, okay?
Okay.
All right.
I will paraphrase what you just said. So Dennis says, out of nowhere, by the way, who knew that our next guest about Elon Musk was going to be an expert on Gilligan's Island? And there were two versions, one without the professor and Mary Ann. And Ken uses it to highlight our third hour, everybody. 3-hour tour. And I don't know. Sometimes I don't know how this show just gets off the rails. And it's always my fault, of course, because it's, I'm the one that's supposed to be keeping it on the rails. And then Dennis comes in and just screws that all up and says, oh, yeah, there were two versions of Gilligan's Island. So you're saying there was one without the professor and Mary Ann?
Yeah, exactly.
Because
they wrote it and recorded it before they had filled those roles, apparently.
How about that?
That's just one of those things that sticks with you, right? But also the song I've had in my head for days now, because I heard it at random, is Chicago. 15 years ago, first album, question 67 and 68.
Oh, man, what a great song.
Yeah, we love that one.
Over and over and over again. And the brass in that thing, and I just thought, when I played trombone as a kid, I was not one of the cool kids. The cool kids played guitar.
Right.
So Chicago was a band that a trombone player, a kid, would love, right? Anyway, it sticks with you.
That first Chicago Transit Authority album, just great. I'm a Man, the Stevie Winwood song, I'm a Man.
25 or 6 to 4, yeah.
And just so you know
what time it is.
one of our on-air talents here at NewstalkSTL, Dr. Randy Tobler, is an accomplished trombone player, and he actually played with Lou Rawls, and he's got a pretty hot wife, so it did him good.
But anytime I see brass players still being employed instead of using synthesizer, which could do an almost perfect rendition, it's just not the same, though, although maybe only an old-timer says something like that.
Right.
But anyway, I am here to promote my book, The Leadership Genius of Elon Musk.
Whatever.
Plug that, baby.
Whatever.
11 lessons of Elon to live a better life, or at least feel better about the life you have. I think that's the key.
Yep.
Too many of us are upset about everything.
And
we should just be happy to be alive.
I think Elon was such a bigger than life role that he's played, and a bigger than life figure that he is. But Doge won't stop, Dennis, right?
Doge will keep churning away. Now, already they've cut a modest $160 billion in annual spending. Now, over 10 years, that's $1.6 trillion. Okay, that's good. His goal, though, was a full trillion a year. We spend, understand, before COVID, we were spending $5 trillion a year, bringing in about $4 trillion in taxes. Okay, COVID comes, boom, spending blows up to $7 trillion, $2 trillion extra. But then COVID turns into a cold, and the spending stays. So every year we're spending $2 trillion more than the $5 trillion we take in taxes. And so along comes Elon. I want to cut $1 trillion. Oh my gosh, he's going to hurt orphans and elderly grandmothers who are poor. No, not at all. There's so much fraud now. We know, right?
Yeah.
Do you know even the Biden administration, guys, before it left office, said we estimate the fraudulent and wasteful spending and unentitled spending, et cetera, of Social Security, Medicaid, and Medicare, it's $572 billion a year. I believe that's what they said. So then you go to cut Medicaid, which was supposed to go to basically moms with infants. They're too poor to afford childcare, or elderly, super poor, and disabled. And today goes to 25-year-old able-bodied men who aren't working. People who earn $100,000 a year can get Medicaid. It's out of control. It's the number 1 or 2 budget item in most states. But when you try to cut that, the Democrats say, you're cutting Medicaid for the poor and the disabled. No, you're not. You're cutting it for able-bodied guys who are living on that dole.
And that's such a stupid argument that they have, okay? Dennis, I know somebody personally who collects Medicaid. I'm gonna try not to even let out the person's gender. Ace bandage basically on this person's wrist, and can't work, and then she's out like boating.
Well, you gave it up.
Oh,
no, I knew you would.
Oh, damn it. But that's the waste and the fraud, and the left are so dishonest about anything. And let me tell you, Social Security, they're missing the boat on that one too, because they should be saying Social Security disability insurance, which is just like Medicaid as far as the fraud and waste and people that are just abusing the system.
Yes. Well, the problem is that government employees in charge of those programs and working on those programs, their mission is to hand out as much money as possible. This is true of unemployment benefits. So they err on the side of giving it out, and they never ask a question. Doge has interviewed people inside the Social Security Administration and elsewhere, and said, oh yeah, in my 20 or 30 years here, I've never questioned a payment. Secretary Bessent, who's been an amazing new superstar of the administration Treasury, he came out and he said, okay, so last year government paid out 1.5 billion payments of various amounts, okay, and 500 million of those, $500 million, 1/3 of all payments, has no assignment number that allows you to track it, to figure out where it went and what it was used for. And that is by design. That part is my interpretation.
That's just crazy. We're talking to Dennis Kneale. He's the author of the book, The Leadership Genius of Elon Musk, which I agree with, by the way. And Dennis, another thing about Doge that they've uncovered, of course, is the NGOs and USAID. And Vic and I were talking about this earlier today, where we're having a protest, and it was really not the same type of people that they used to get when they paid everybody. Do you think that has anything to do with the fact that they shut down the USAID?
Yeah, I think it is. I think you could probably trace that money. I think I heard a figure the other day, 7,000 NGOs got 90% of the, I think the figure was $300 billion a year that we were spending in overseas aid. and then billions were round tripping back to the U.S.
Yes.
and being contributed to campaigns and gifts. And I think that we've just begun to scratch the surface. And why was there such bitter, vehement protest against, going after this kind of thing? Because those protests were financed by 5 Democrat organizations funded by ActBlue, Elon Musk revealed on X, and they're paying people to go. I mean, they were going after Tesla sites. People who claimed to care about the environment were torching Teslas and sending up, millions of gallons of toxic fumes into the air. It just doesn't make sense. And it's because you go after it with this amount of vengeance if your ox is getting gored.
Being a Democrat, you have to learn the art of distraction. And this is an unnamed congressman, Republican, talking about Elon Musk's security clearance.
Elon Musk does have a security clearance. He has a top secret security clearance. By God, he makes the rockets for NASA. But the suggestion that he somehow can't be trusted to dig into how we're spending our money is nothing but a smokescreen to hide the corruption and the wasteful spending that has occurred there. And I am personally offended at the left's continued references to 19-year-olds and 21-year-olds in there doing work. There are 19-year-olds who have won the Medal of Honor defending this country. Just because you're 19 doesn't mean you're some child who can't be trusted. It is offensive. And if you're 19 years old out there, 20 years old, and you're serving this country, by God, your service matters. Keep serving. We thank you for that.
So when Elon Musk hires 19 and 20-year-olds, he's an idiot.
Right. Well, especially AOC. Did you hear that bite from her talking about how, he's dumb? And this from, the former waiter, Suburban Sandy, who hasn't, I don't think, sponsored a single successful legislation, who's done nothing to help the people of the Bronx that she supposedly represents.
Yeah.
And yet she's the leading candidate for 2028. Man, that woman, I'm sorry. I just don't get it. Or I think I do. But look, if she's absolutely gorgeous. And I think people fall in love with her before she even opens her mouth.
What a great way to vote. Vote on who's gorgeous or not.
Yeah.
So getting back to Elon. When Elon Musk was making Teslas, when Jennifer Granholm, the energy secretary under Joe Biden, told us, they're mandating you get an electric vehicle. Can't afford it. Too bad. Buy it anyway. Right. And Elon was a hero because he made electric cars. Then he works for Trump, and the same guy is now hated by the left and having cars scratched up and burned up and dealerships burned up. I mean, the left doesn't even know what they want. They don't even know what they want.
They are so obsessed with Trump. Trump owns the party, owns the Democratic Party. That's what someone said. I forget. He said, really, I think maybe J.D. Vance said that Trump is the leader of the Democrat Party. He sets their agenda by just doing something, then they oppose every single thing. Look how brilliant Trump and Musk both have been. And I think this was premeditated. Let's take all of these new stances very boldly, because we'll have to oppose everything we do. So they're opposing really rational policy. I mean, my gosh, I live a mile from the Brooklyn Bridge. Okay, I can walk across it, and I do sometimes. And so that tall ship, runs into the bridge and tips over those masts. And within a couple of hours or two, I put those posts on X. I said, "Watch now, the Democrats will find a way to blame this on Donald Trump."
Chuck Schumer tried.
The odious Chuck Schumer's on there saying, "Yes, we've got to investigate whether Doge." I mean, these guys have just lost it.
You know what, Dennis? We're talking to Dennis Kneale, author of the book, The Leadership Genius of Elon Musk. They're so predictable, and there's ways to look ahead. This might be the poker player in me, to look a step ahead on what your opponent might do. And I said to Ken, my partner here, the day that the Pope died, I said, Ken, you watch. The left is going to say J.D. Vance killed the Pope.
Yeah.
Because he was with them the day before he died. And sure enough, that's what they said.
That was posted. You saw that get posted by someone on the record?
Oh, yeah.
Well, in tweets and stuff. I mean, that's, if you put your name to it, that's official, right?
Yeah. Sure,
Some lady said,
but
what if he had a substance on his hand and he rubbed it on the Pope? Well, wouldn't it have killed him too if the substance was on? Right. They're so stupid, Dennis. They are just so stupid.
Wow. Oh, I mean, there'd be far easier ways to take him out than doing that. I mean, you wouldn't have it so direct.
But do you see what I mean about the predictability? They're so predictable.
Absolutely.
If we sit down and they say, okay, what are they going to say now? Okay, now they're going to say that, oh, it's Donald Trump's fault that the ship hit the Brooklyn Bridge, and then a defense against the predictability, because we know they're going to do it. It's not hard to figure out. I can figure it out, and I'm not in Washington, D.C.
But here's the thing about that. What the error they make by doing this, by blaming everything on Trump, is they make him more powerful to the public eye. They make him omnipotent.
Right.
My gosh, this man has the ability to change the world. You know, the way they paint it, it's for the worst. But we can see it. Look, Trump, and we should learn this for our own lives, guys. And this is the kind of advice I try to offer in the book. You know, sometimes by saying things out loud, you can begin to change your world or the universe in some way. Look at how Trump said Greenland. We should really kind of buy Greenland, basically, or take that baby over. Well, instantly it's rejected. But now it is on the agenda and being discussed in a way never before. And I just read a story someplace saying the U.S. has a secret base underground or something in Greenland. I mean, just things happen just by putting them out into the air and saying them. And the other thing is, guys, don't you think that Trump is doing some things on purpose just to drive them crazy? They chase their own tails on that small beer issue while he's getting huge things done that they have no time to protest against. And look at, for example, I saw Trump watches, an ad on Newsmax. I go on Newsmax a lot. And I saw an ad for Trump watches where Trump's actually talking. Now, I think he probably taped it before he was president. But it's so tacky to be running that thing now on Trump watches. And instantly you can create a controversy. And then you've got the whole $400 million plane from Qatar. Never mind that deal was being negotiated in the Biden administration. And then Trump, instead of saying, oh, shucks, we should have an independent commission, look at this and review what we should do, he says, yeah, I'm taking it. It's a free gift. Of course we're going to take it. We're going to save $400 million. Well, they now then go after that like crazy. And it turns out, hey, Biden would have done it too. They were talking about it. But now they're not saying a thing about his amazing speech in Saudi Arabia, about his new approach, an entirely new doctrine in the Middle East, guys. Instead of preaching democracy to human rights violators, instead come to, hey, you want to make some money together? Start investing in the U.S. It's genius. Capitalism is what really overcame the Soviet bloc, and it broke up the Soviet Union. The desire for goods and services and a better life. Capitalism did that. It hasn't worked yet in Cuba because we keep embargoing them instead of trading with them.
Well, Dennis, you've heard people talk about how Trump's playing 4D chess, right? I mean, that kind of goes into what you're talking about. And we've talked about this before, where he's like the goat of all trolls. I mean, Donald Trump trolls masterfully, and he redirects people any way he wants.
Yeah, the Pope picture. Look at how much ink, how much attention he drew for simply reposting a funny AI photo. And now they're not talking about, my gosh, you know, they're not talking about other things that they should be posting that are bigger. I mean, how did Trump manage to push them into defending and going to visit a guy who clearly is a member, allegedly, of MS-13. 2 different federal judges ruled it, and a federal informant testified to it. The ex-wife of his wife filed a court order saying, I want to get my children out of that home because my ex-wife has a boyfriend who's a member of a gang. Okay, the guy actually in his own story to the feds, he said, I had to leave because I'm in danger. A gang will kill me. What gang is specifically targeting you unless you're in a rival gang?
Right.
And yet the Democrats go and visit this guy. And then they have to insist that, as Bill Clinton didn't inhale, he didn't sip a margarita because there's no lip mark on the salt rim. Look at what we're paying attention to. Instead, they're not able to even stop Trump's major, huge forays on so many fronts.
They're so ridiculous. The left is just so ridiculous. All right, Dennis, so final question. Don't you find it odd that the very last character named in the song for Gilligan's Island is the one that's the most popular? Marianne gets the most attention, right? Ginger or Marianne? Everybody says Marianne.
Well, Marianne, no, Ginger remains the hottie. I always was a Ginger. Well, actually, I was both. I mean, why did we have to choose?
Well, because life makes us, all right? The social media makes us. Ginger or Marianne? Okay, fine, Marianne. But then Ginger or Marsha Brady. I might have to go with Marsha Brady, you know. All right, enough of that. The Leadership Genius of Elon Musk. Where do we find that book, Dennis?
That's everywhere. Amazon, Books A Million, Barnes and Noble. Also, please try out my podcast out every Thursday. What's bugging me? And it turns out it's a lot, as you might have surmised.
Dennis, great to have you. Please come back and join us again. Some Chicago for you to take us out. Thank you for your time.
I love it.
All right. Another trombone player.
Yep.
With Dr. Tolber. There you go. There's the horn section that makes Dennis go nuts. And I think we just had a conversation last week, Ken, about how rock bands, Stones, had horn sections, really heavy horn sections.
That's we did that for 5 years in my band. I played sax to rock music.
Bobby Keys, he played saxophone on so many records, you can't believe it. He's the saxophone solo on Brown Sugar, on Sweet Virginia, and a boy from Texas. How did he get mixed up with those crazy Brits, right?
Right.
But boy, it was just great. All right, chat box coming up at 11:41. And I want to talk a little bit about something I talk too much about, maybe, but I can't help it. I just can't help it. That's next on News Talk STL. Stick around.
Like and subscribe to us on Rumble. News Talk STL. The Vic Porcelli Show.
What else do we know about this population, 18 through 24? They are stupid. They make really bad decisions.
Oh, that woman got a mouth like an outboard motor all the time.
Made in St. Louis for St. Louis. It's News Talk STL.
This is so stupid.
St. Louis's.
Okay, I'm hanging up on you now.
Place to talk. News Talk STL.
This is Tony Colombo, and my favorite Capriati sandwich is the cheesesteak made with American Wagyu beef from Snake River Farms, and you have to include a side of their amazing fries. I love Capriati's, and you will too.
Open 9 to 9 daily on Manchester and McKnight in Rock Hill.
Another RX Watch, brought to you by Onder Law.
Welcome back to RX Watch. This alert is disturbing.
Right. A while back, we learned that companies like Johnson & Johnson use a mineral called talc in baby powder and other products.
And studies show that talc, when used for feminine hygiene, can cause ovarian cancer.
Now listen to this. RX Watch has learned that the talc they use is being mined in China.
Right, and talc mined in China contains heavy metal contaminants like chromium and magnesium, which are known to cause cancer. But China doesn't care.
So China gets the jobs and we get contaminated talc in our baby powder.
And ovarian cancer.
Right. With their specialized tests, the medical team at Onder Law can help you know if your ovarian cancer was caused by talc.
Onder Law has helped women for years with free and confidential consultation. You need to call Onder Law's pharma attorneys at 1-800-RX-WATCH.
Call Onder Law at 1-800-RX-WATCH.
That's 1-800-RX-WATCH, or go to rxwatch.com.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertisements.
Connor Roofing. You can count on Connor. Connor Roofing is now a 2-time winner of the National Best of the Best Award for customer satisfaction for roofing, storm damage restoration, siding, gutters, both residential and commercial. Please visit ConnorRoofing.com for an estimate. And remember, you can count on Connor.
So many ways to listen to News Talk STL. Enable our Alexa skill.
Hello.
Hey, Alexa.
Yes, I'm listening.
Play News Talk STL.
Welcome to News Talk STL, conservative talk radio for St. Louis.
Talk lines are open now at 314-912-1019. Vic and Ken. Ken can build a deck. Vic can build a sandwich. The Vic Porcelli Show on 101.9 and 94.1 News Talk STL.
Is it a good sandwich you built?
Bread, meat, bread.
Yeah.
Got it.
Like that.
All right. Hi. How's everybody doing? So listen, I know I talk about this stuff too much, and I'll probably get yelled at after the show for this, but I cannot stop thinking, obsessing about the 1940s in Germany and the Third Reich and Auschwitz and all that stuff. And I like Facebook. I know people hate Facebook. I like Facebook. People that I know are on Facebook. I feel like a bigger deal on Facebook than I do on Twitter because nobody pays attention to me on Twitter. By the way, speaking of Twitter, if you go to my Twitter profile, you'll see people are on a bus, and this guy comes flying through the front windshield.
What is that?
I don't know, but the guy on the left with the water bottle in his hand, I think, is Tony Colombo, or looks just like him.
Okay, so it's at YoVic7.
Yeah.
Okay,
So
you never give that out. That's one problem.
You give it out. It's always on the
at YoVic7, and mine is simply Ken J. Williams.
Kenneth James Williams.
Right, but it's just
that's what your mom said when she was married.
Oh yeah,
right?
yeah. I just got a chill when you said that.
Sorry. So, getting back to what I was saying, partially because I guess I do understand, but it kills me. I wish I could be there to warn them, to say, don't give up your guns, don't give up your radios, because the first thing they took from the Jews were radios.
Yeah, and I think, in your defense of thinking about it a lot right now is because there are a lot of similarities of things that are happening.
Oh, you're right.
Primarily on the left, when they say that the right is being authoritarian, when they say Donald Trump's administration is being authoritarian, they really are. And that's called EDSTOID, which is what we came up as an acronym for everything Democrats say the opposite is true.
You're absolutely right.
And this is why you keep bringing it up, because they do those things, Vic. Remember during the Biden administration when they were going to have a mis, dis, and malinformation person, that Jarkowitz or
Jankowitz.
She was the singing nutball.
She was a nutball.
But they were going to use her as the authority to decide what was going to be acceptable and what was not going to be acceptable as free speech.
And Bruce Springsteen is on stage in England saying the exact opposite. He's saying that the Trump administration is putting people away for free speech, and
and they're not.
Of course not.
Plain and simple.
He's a Democrat. He's a
Where
liar.
was he when he said that?
England.
Oh, okay. Let's talk about the UK right now. Let's go to England right now. If you say anything about a Muslim not speaking English, just say, "Would you speak English, please?" You can be put in jail for that.
And for a post on X, they can put you in jail if they don't like it.
Well, they have actually.
All right. So sorry. So what's happening, or what's happened in Germany, because Ken, it's not just Germany. I mean, they went Denmark, Sweden. I mean, these countries that are more Scandinavian than they are European.
Yeah.
Rounding up Jews, throwing them on a truck, and then taking them to the train, take them right to Auschwitz. They shave their head, and then they kill them.
Right.
And you would think somebody, a human being with any sense of
moral fiber,
yeah, but also, God, what am I trying to say? Sympathy or empathy would not think of killing a child.
Yeah.
But the children were their first targets, because they don't want them to grow up to be adult Jews. Let's kill them now while they're kid Jews.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
And the smaller the kid, the less they cared,
Yeah.
And they would separate the kids from the adults. And then they put, hey, kids, come on, we're going to go to the amusement park. Come on, get in this truck. And they take them to the gas chamber and kill them and gas them. So I like Facebook. That's where this whole thing started. I like Facebook, and I scroll through Facebook a lot. See some things some friends say. I saw JC on there last night talking about the storm. So I said, hey, Twister Boy, watching the skies, because that's his alter ego. Like Ziggy Stardust was David Bowie's alter ego.
Yeah.
Twister Boy is JC's alter ego.
Yeah, I saw that. I saw his picture post of a tornado.
Yeah. And back at the river, he got us all shirts. We had shirts, the black shirts with gold letters that said Twister Boy. And on the sleeve was like a little picture of a twister of a tornado, and that said watching the skies underneath. So, and I've said this many times before, just bear with me, okay? Many times throughout the night when I'm scrolling, there will be little, I call them vignettes. I don't know what else to call them. They're like not even a paragraph long, but there'll be a picture of somebody, and they'll say this person, a Czech Jew, a German Jew, Italian Jews, and was taken to Auschwitz and, died in the gas chamber. And that one lady that we found for Karen was still alive and celebrated her 100th birthday.
Yeah,
Remember that?
Yeah.
That's why I look, Ken. And then a couple of nights ago, I'm scrolling through, and I see this face, all right? And I would like you to actually stop what you're doing right now and go to our stream and just look at that face, okay? It's right on the right. You can't miss it. It's the only black and white thing on the stream. That girl, hold on, I got her name.
When you look at her face, you just think to yourself, there's nothing that this little girl could do wrong.
And sometimes I don't even, she almost looks like she's wiser than her age. You
Yeah.
know?
Oh, yeah.
So I'll just read you the caption that was on this little vignette. 19th of January, 1932. A Polish Jewish girl, Chana Blum, was born in Warsaw. She cherished bedtime stories from her father. She died in the Warsaw Ghetto in 1942. She was 10 years old. 10. As long as her life lasted. She never got to fall in love. She never got to get married and have children because the Nazis killed her. And this face haunts me now, Ken. Karen was like, hey, can you send me that? I'm like, I have no idea where I found it. I found it. I was scrolling like a crazy person last night.
Yeah, I'll send it to Karen.
I sent her the picture.
Did you? Okay.
She just wants to know what the Facebook page was that I found it on. That's going to be another, because I didn't write it down when I had it.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah.
But, and, you know, she's just one of 6 million, right? Out of the 6 million, how many were kids? 1 million? 1.5 were kids, maybe under 12 years old, 10 years old.
It's just something you can't even comprehend. You can't have empathy for that because of what's gone through, you know?
And that's the thing. How can the Germans not have any sympathy or empathy or feeling in their heart to kill a kid? How brainwashed were they? I mean, this girl looks like an adult in the picture. So I'd like you to look at that picture. I'd like you to remember her face. And I don't know, just think about her memory. Who's this?
It's Andre.
Andre, how are you, baby? Thanks for serving.
My pleasure. Kind of weird to go from the topic you're just talking about to this one, but on a lighter note, I really love the Vic and Ken segments. Like Ken can build a deck, Vic can build a sandwich, but I think I got another good one for you.
Oh, okay. Go ahead. What do you got?
Vic brings the thunder, Ken steals the thunder.
Oh, I love it.
I like it.
Vic and Ken. Vic brings the thunder. Ken steals the thunder. And then we have Ken.
You'll be hearing that one of these days.
Yeah, you'll be hearing that one, Andre, for sure.
All right, awesome. Have a good one, guys.
Thank you, man,
too,
so
man.
much. And again, of course, most importantly, thank you for serving.
And thanks for
My
listening.
pleasure.
I like that idea.
I like it.
I like that idea.
Brings the thunder, steals the thunder.
All right, so just do me a favor and look at this girl's face, okay? It doesn't. Her face does not say 10 years old to me.
No.
Her face says worldly and smarter than her years. And it's one of the most beautiful faces I've ever seen in my life. And she didn't make it past 10.
Yeah. And how many others were there like her?
Tons. Tons. This is the one site that I found this from that I have to find for Karen. We're all kids. The entire page, all kids that died in gas chambers and died in the Warsaw Ghetto. And, you know, I don't know, it just kills me, man. All right, let's go to the chat box as soon as we get back, okay? On 1019 and 94.1 News Talk STL. Vic brings the thunder. Ken steals the thunder. I want to
like and subscribe to us on Rumble. News Talk STL. The Vic Porcelli Show.
In my life, I had a guardian angel by my side. I called her Mamaw. She loved the Lord, ladies and gentlemen. She was a woman of very deep Christian faith. But she also loved the F word.
News Talk STL. Tim Jones and Chris Arps in the afternoon.
Friday's tornado ripped the roof off the Show Me Institute's headquarters. David Stokes, Director of Municipal Policy, tells us how he narrowly escaped death.
Tim Jones and Chris Arps. Weekdays at 4 on News Talk STL.
Rhino Shield is engineered to outlast paint by a lot. Backed with our 25-year transferable warranty. Paint a house, shield a home. We do brick, block, stucco, asbestos, steel, aluminum, cedar, and more. We are the only coating company selected by Disney, This Old House, and 3 times on HGTV's Curb Appeal. where all 3 episodes concentrate on unpainted brick. If you maintain or own a business with a tired-looking building, you owe it to yourself to look at Rhino Shield and our beautifully durable color schemes. Evaluations are free. We're making buildings pop and be noticed again, from Champaign to the Lake of the Ozarks, exceeding expectations every day with our products, people, and performance. Now is the time to call 877-25-RHINO, 877-25-RHINO, or go to 877-25rhino.com and see how honest and transparent we really are. Tell them, ladies.
Don't paint, don't Rhino, go Rhino Shield. Never paint your house again. Rhino Shield.
This is Mark Harder with RE/MAX Results, the #1 RE/MAX franchise in the region. As a licensed real estate broker with RE/MAX Results for over 20 years, I've seen the ups and downs of many real estate markets, including the one we're in right now. With the spring market in full swing, now is the time to leap into the buying or selling of your home. Someday is not a day. Today is the day to make your move. Call me at 314-852-8933 or email me at markhardersells@gmail.com.
Talk lines are open now at 314-912-1019. The Vic Porcelli Show.
Hey, what are you going to do? Nice college boy, huh? They want to get mixed up in a family business? Now you want to gun down a police captain, want to slap you in the face a little bit? Huh? What do you think? This is the Army where you shoot them a mile away? You got to get them close like this. Let them bing, you blow their brains all over your nice Ivy League suit. Come in. Mwah.
On Newstalk STL.
Good morning and welcome to it. 1019 and 94.1 Newstalk STL. This is our 3-hour tour. We could probably use that as the title of the show, you know? Instead of the Vic Porcelli Show, it's the 3-hour tour. A 3-hour tour. All right. Ken, what are we doing? Tell me what we're doing. Are we going to the phones? Are we going to chat box? Okay, go to chat box. Let's go. While we're young. All right, we start out with Allison this morning on Facebook. Good morning, Vic and Ken and all patriots on the 3-hour truth tour. Awesome. And she's got a flag and the emoji saluting the flag. How about that? Hey, Peggy Giannino, my old pal, says good morning. Good morning, Newstalk STL friends and STL friends and family. That's from Kathleen. GMFFH, the Democrats lied to their supporters over 5 years. Why would they ever believe them again?
Whoosh.
Good morning, freedom fighters. The fact that Bill Barr investigated Epstein's death, I would not believe any report from him. That's a great point.
Yeah, I mean, I believe with what Kash Patel and Dan Bongino are saying they believe is true based on other information. But I don't know if that information was true.
I still want to see the list.
Yep.
Just same entities that were pulling Obama strings was pulling Biden strings too. It's just been so obvious. This was obviously all planned from the start. We all knew it back then. We all know it now. It doesn't take a whole lot of common sense to realize that it appears that the entities that were okay, we just said that strings thing. Okay. Hey, Joe Tanner.
Hey, Joe.
Joe, good to have you with us, man. He's not pulling any punches here, okay?
All right.
He says, I'm not sorry Biden has cancer. After what he did to America, him and his corrupt family deserve no sympathy.
There are a lot of people who feel that way.
And you have a right to feel that way.
Yep. That's called freedom of opinion.
Jill allowed it. Jill did allow it.
Now, I responded to that one. It may seem simple, but think about that. We didn't even refer to that yet.
Mm-hmm.
And we have talked about Jill's ownership of the presidency in the past. I mean, she basically took control of everything. Well, guess what? I think we're finding out why now.
Yeah. And Joe couldn't get through a softball interview on The View, but he made sure he brought Jill. And every time he started stuttering and stammering, Joe would jump in there and answer the question. Good job.
Say it with me. Si se puede.
Stuff like that, yeah. Good morning, Dickhead Patriots. Hope everyone came out okay last night. Yeah, last night was enough. Last night any high winds at your house or anything?
No, we got lucky.
We got lucky twice, man. I mean, thank you so much, God. SAPA bill was filibustered. I don't even want to get into SAPA right now because it's ridiculous. The Second Amendment's there for a reason. Jason Whitlock is right. Caitlin Clark is the WNBA. Look at tickets in Phoenix to see. Oh, she looked into tickets in Phoenix to see Fever play. Cheapest seats were $108. A week later, when Atlanta was there, you can get tickets for $8.
How about that? Now, that's undeniable. See, this is what the Democrats will do. I'm comparing the two because you got the left and you got Democrats. But Democrats do that. They'll say, do not your eyes deceive you. Do not go with what you're seeing.
That's a good point, Ken, because now Democrats can't like Caitlin Clark because she's going up against the black girl.
Right.
And the left will always stick up for a black girl over a white girl.
Oh, of course.
So they're stuck.
Yeah. They're kind of stuck. Yeah.
That's fine. Okay. When you answer somebody. Oh, Jill allowed it. No. Okay. That answers my question right there. Okay. I shouldn't have done that. Now I can't get back to where I was. Live chat. Damn it. Okay. Good morning, News Talk STL friends and family. Amy. Oh, Kathleen talking to Amy. Amy, this tornadic weather is getting to be ridiculous. Maybe they should stop flying those airplanes that's dropping all those chemicals and causing all those bogus clouds that they claim they're using for climate control.
Yeah, that they claim that don't have any impact on the environment at all.
Are you saying weather manipulation? Is that what you're saying?
Possibly. I mean, we don't know. I mean, it is acting very odd in the pattern. What interests to me is the jet stream and the pattern of the storms are going over places that they've never really gone over in a long time, at least.
Right. Do you think they'll blame President Trump for Biden's cancer?
Trump didn't cure cancer, and look what happened.
Christopher Slater. That seems like a new name to me, too. Trump should be impeached for causing Biden's prostate cancer. Adam Schiff. Adam Schiff didn't really say that, but that's something that his stupid watermelon head would say.
Right.
All right, over to Rumble we go.
You're mocking me, aren't you?
101 Straight Up was in first. He says, numero uno, beaches.
What's that mean?
Wah, ha, 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 ha. Smash that like button. He's absolutely right. Would it kill you? Would it kill you to hit the like button for us? To subscribe to our show, to go get our podcast so you can listen to it anytime you want. It would help us out. And hit the would it kill you to hit the like button? I wouldn't wish Biden's cancer on anyone, but I'll be damned if I'm going to feel sorry for the lifelong tax-paying scamming thief, FJB. What does that mean, FJB?
I don't know. For justice, I don't know.
Yes, exactly right. I don't know a lot about cash, but I'd really be disappointed to find that Dan Bongino has either A, been duped by, or B, has been swallowed up by the swamp in D.C.
Yeah, I can't even imagine at this point that that's happened yet. I mean, I really can't. I just don't trust that. I think they're seeing something that we're not seeing, and hopefully they'll be able to reveal it because we need some transparency on some of these issues.
He was on this station right after us saying some unbelievably bold things. So
oh, yeah.
Now's his chance to make good on it. I'd bet Joe Biden ran the country while worshiping was incapable of doing it. The media hiding Biden's decline played a major role in the stolen 2020 election because they said he was a stutter. A childhood stutter.
Yeah.
He's not a child anymore. And he beat the stutter. There was no stolen election, and J6 was an insurrection. Democrat Party. Quote, Democrat Party.
Oh, yeah.
And then they have a mad face and then a little poop
emoji, yeah.
It was a bummer. Childless cat lady, I believe that's Sandra, our friend. The speech where Biden berated us for not getting the vax. And the "our patience is wearing thin" speech.
Oh, yeah.
I won't ever feel bad for Biden. Our son,
patience is wearing thin.
Yeah.
Who cares?
Right. Like our patience isn't being weared thin by you just trying to have a conversation with somebody.
Exactly.
Barry says our son died from aggressive prostate cancer. His doctors prescribed that he spend lots of times in the sun. Maybe that explains Joe's frequent trips to the beach.
All right.
All righty then. So 101 Straight Up also says he will not feel bad for Biden.
Yeah.
And he 101 Straight Up says, I'm sorry, Barry, about your son. Us too. We're so sorry to hear that.
Yeah.
Biden punished Americans for not getting vaxxed. He would have locked us up if he could have. Lincoln never talked to Southerners the way Biden talks to us. No sympathy for him ever. I put him on the same pedestal I put Schroer Clinton. Is that her first name? Schroer? Her first name is Schroer?
I'm pretty sure it's something like that.
Something's close to that. Oh, that's right. Murderer. I dislike the word hate, but certainly have no love for either of them. Just call him a murderer. Then you're saying you hate him. So, Vic and Ken, do you guys fight over the length and size of your decks? Ken's got a big deck. Ken's got a really, really big deck.
Well,
so it's not a fight. I've submitted. Channeling redneck comedy poorly. I don't know what that means. I'm here, better late than never. That's Ed. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America. No fair elections. No peace. No fair tariffs.
No peace.
Good morning, all you beautiful mega, maga, ultra patriotic, deplorable, garbaging, degenerate, freedom fighting, God fearing, Vic head weirdos.
Because he's a mensch.
Hey, lib-turd Dems. We know what you'd be screaming if Republicans covered up something even as small as Trump having a hangnail.
Oh
So
my God,
shut
yeah.
up and take your lumps, hypocrites. And Donald Trump got examined by a doctor all the time. Didn't he? All the time. The only cognitive test that mattered was the debate, and they knew it. Then you saw what the lib-turds did. They put Harrison. Boy, that's a great point. That debate was his cognitive test, and he failed.
That's a huge point because we were out at the at Rick Pogue's place, the hideout,
Yeah.
and it was packed, and there were televisions everywhere. And I'm thinking to myself, "Come on, man, Trump, nail him."
Yeah.
And my goodness, it exceeded my expectations. I was so happy.
And the big acme of that was when Biden said something, and then Donald Trump said, "I don't even know what he said at the end there. I think he knows what he said." That was perfect.
That was it.
That was
After
perfect.
that, it didn't matter whatever Joe Biden was going to say.
They think they're untouchable? Well, let's prove them wrong. Slimy Comey is still lying about his shell formation that he found on the beach. What a lying scumbag piece of
Stuff. What do they think? What do they think the American people are? He found that, and he had nothing to do with it. I'm just going to post it because it's so unusual. He didn't say, "Can someone tell me what this means?" If he didn't know, truly didn't know, he would have said that.
And Ken, what an outrageous coincidence that he just walked up to this shell collection, took a picture of it, put it on Instagram exactly 8,647 days after 9/11. What a crazy, wacky coincidence that is.
Yep.
He's an idiot. Okay. God didn't want President Trump to die, but Comey apparently does. Maybe Comey should rethink his position on that.
No, I would suggest that he would.
Did Comey find the seashells next to where Biden was lying on the beach? Watching Patel and Bongino on Bartiromo's show, did anyone notice their expressions were honest? They knew they were lying about Epstein killing himself. Who has the power here? God. Yeah.
God, I hope they're wrong.
Me too.
I'm sorry, but I just hope you're wrong on that.
Pam, same with Pam Blondie, not being honest. Who's threatening them? Who's threatening them to not get the...
That's the one. That's the one. Okay, there's a little room for the others right now, but Pam Bondi, I mean, come on. The first thing she said out of the gate was, "I have these things on my desk. They're disgusting as can be. They're more than what you even thought they were. I have all the names, and I'm going to release the Epstein list tomorrow."
Not for nothing, but Merrick Garland wasn't afraid to say anything about Republicans, about Trump, about us,
No.
about parents of a school board meeting.
No.
He just laid it out there, and you're all criminals. We're going to throw you all in jail. the movie star, and the rest here on Gilligan's. I pray you're wrong, Ed. Yep. Marsha. Oh, Jan. I like Marsha Brady growing up.
Oh, yeah.
Marianne and Marsha. You know what? I'll take them both.
All three.
And Jeannie from I Dream of Jeannie. Oh my God.
Yes, definitely.
Vic said, "Sweet Virginia." What happened to Virginia Cruda coming on the show? Don't we explain this like once a month?
Probably.
It just wasn't a good fit. That's all.
You know, I'll bet the ladies have dreamboat guys that they watched on television too.
Like?
I don't know. I'm not a dreamboat looker.
Mr. Brady?
Well, I don't know.
Mr. Cleaver?
Maybe somebody should tell us what they were, what they watched when they were younger. Thought,
Danny
man, he was
Thomas?
awful hot.
Yeah. Well, Marsha was hot. And Jeannie was hot.
Yeah, she was.
Bruce Dixie Chick Springsteen. What is wrong with these people? Okay, so the Dixie Chicks. They were this country band from the South, named themselves Dixie Chicks. Then all of a sudden they don't like Republicans, right? So at a concert when George Bush was president, they said, I'm ashamed to be president. So let's
I'm ashamed to be American.
Yes. So let's change the name of our band to just Chicks. So they took what they think is a derogatory term in Dixie and left the derogatory term Chicks.
Yeah, right.
Right?
Yeah, exactly.
How stupid was that? I can't run the world. I'm just too busy. Springsteen just ate up with dumbass.
Yeah, he's always been that way, though.
Yeah,
he really has.
Yeah, there's no doubt.
Outside of, he plays well. I've never been a big fan. You are a big fan of his.
Have to be. From Jersey, it's a law.
Well, sure, that's a law. But for me, I never really liked his music. But he's just always had to stick his nose in politics, and I never liked that about him.
Born in the USA was not a pro-America anthem. People don't even realize that Born in the USA is not some tribute to America. If you don't like it here, please leave now. Trump will give you one of those special one-way deportation plane tickets and $1,000.
By the way, that first flight had took off today, I believe.
It's working. Winning. They even threatened to leave, then refused to do so.
Yeah.
She's a beautiful little girl. She is. This girl is so beautiful. And it just kills me that they killed her. F socialist scumbags. I'm on board with that. The weather started getting rough. Vic threw the thunder. Ken stole it. Love that. People in prison have cancer, so he can go to prison too. No one wishes cancer on anyone.
Right.
But you're still a criminal regardless.
And that's my point. You can say, okay, yeah, cancer sucks, but you're a scumbag.
Right.
And we're going to find out everything about you and put you in jail. That's, sorry about the cancer, though.
Yep. Sorry about the cancer, though.
No, that's the way
Just
I
get
feel.
your cancer ass in that cell.
Exactly. That's the way I feel.
Right.
I lost my father to cancer. It's a very serious thing, but
Yes.
it doesn't diminish the fact of what you've done your last 50 years of your life.
Ken, they have made it not a serious thing, not us.
Right.
The left has made it not a serious. Don't tell anybody you got cancer.
Yeah. No, that would not work for the Democrat Party right now. So
why
stop.
would we be honest with the press and the United States public? God almighty, they're so bad. They're so terrible. All right, so do me a favor. Go back and watch this if you're not watching it on the stream. First of all, you're missing all the great handsomeness in the studio, and that's on you. But if you can go back and look at the last two breaks, the last two segments, that girl up there whose name was Chana Bloom died in the Warsaw Ghetto at the age of 10. And I'll say it again. She never got to fall in love. She never got to get married. Never got to be a mom because they killed her.
And she's one of millions of others.
Beautiful face. I don't know what else to say.
We just can't forget that in what we're living through today.
That's right. Thank you so much for having the record player on at night to listen to us this morning.
Make sure you have the record player on at night.
All right, Joe. Thanks. Jamie Allman's next. 3 Martini Lunch. Common Sense Radio. Take it till 2 o'clock. And Kenny now. See you tomorrow on News Talk STL.
Whoosh. I'm Dr. TJ, owner of the Institute of Natural Health, co-owner of Optimal Nutraceuticals, and the host of Wellness One. Wellness One is designed to cut through the nonsense and provide you common sense, science-based information regarding health and wellness. On the show, we discuss topics like thyroid health, gut health, hormone optimization, and many others. Our show airs Saturdays at 10 a.m. and 2 p.m. and Sundays at 11 a.m. and 3 p.m. right here on NewstalkSTL. And you can visit us at inhstl.com. That's inhstl.com.
Getting new flooring can be exciting, or it can be a hassle. To make sure you have a great experience, use Michael's Flooring, like I did. Hi, it's Susie Moore, and Michael's Flooring has become my go-to for quality, variety, and an all-around great experience. They've been locally owned and operated for more than 30 years. Carpet, hardwood, laminate, ceramic tile, natural stone, luxury vinyl, it doesn't matter. Michael's Flooring is ready to help. 3 locations to pick from: St. Peter's, Darting Prairie, and Creve Coeur, or online at igotfloor.com. That's igotfloor.com.
As we pause to honor those who have made the ultimate sacrifice for our freedom this Memorial Day, let us remember their courage and dedication.
Words cannot measure the depth of their devotion, the purity of their love, or the totality of their courage.
A reminder from local businesses who support our veterans: Freddy's Market in Webster Groves, Blue Sky Apparel and Promotions, Ray Ray's Kettle Corn, and from News Talk STL.
KLGY HD3 Clayton, K270BW Bellefonte, KNBS Bowling Green. This is News Talk STL at 1019, 94.1, and always streaming at newstalkstl.com.
Breaking news this hour from townhall.com. I'm John Scott. House Republicans are barreling ahead to advance President Trump's domestic agenda as Speaker Mike Johnson seeks to unite a divided caucus ahead of a crucial vote. More on this with reporter Bernie Bennett.
Republicans have bounced back this week, days after a big setback. The House Budget Committee advanced President Trump's big, beautiful bill in an unusual late-night vote Sunday, in which the GOP fiscal hawks that sank the same bill last week agreed to vote present in order to keep things moving. Speaker Johnson with reporters on Monday.
We're almost there, and I'm very optimistic we will find the right equilibrium point to get this bill delivered.
The Speaker has hopes they will finish the bill by week's end.
We got a few issues to resolve, but we're working with all the interested parties to do that, and I'm confident that we will.
Bernie Bennett, Capitol Hill.
Also at townhall.com, at a news conference, the UN's Jens Laerke confirms that more aid trucks are ready to cross into Gaza as desperation there mounts.
We have requested and received approval of more trucks to enter today. Many more than were approved yesterday.
Under pressure, Israel agreed this week to allow a minimal amount of aid into the Palestinian territory. Authorities arresting an Orleans